You guys are cracking me up in the comments before the show started. Welcome in, Mr. Sneff. Welcome in, guys. We're gonna have a lot of fun today. I don't want to have too much fun, but we're gonna have a lot of fun. I've had a very heavy few days, and today, well, I don't know. You may not have seen last night. We talked a lot about my trip to Arizona and my good friend who was struggling mightily. And when I got off the air last night, I got word that he had passed really not long before, while we were on air, that he had passed away. And there was I hate to say, a palpable sense of relief, because it sounds cruel, but it's not. I mean, when you see someone struggling so mightily and in so much pain, you want to do anything to stop it, and hearing his wife talk about him receiving a glorified body. I mean, what a reward. What a reward for a life well lived. And so I did want to update you on that. I have reached out to intermediaries. I don't want to reach out directly to his wife at this time, but I've reached out to intermediaries asking about options to donate to the family. They have a heavy burden, a very heavy burden. They've got to get him back from Arizona. They've got to get him a proper, dignified burial, and they also have to now replace his income. He was the sole breadwinner for the family. So there's a lot there. A lot of people are being very helpful. A lot of people are being very generous. For those that want to get involved, we're going to have an opportunity for you to get involved. Do not donate to him through YouTube, though. That's not an efficient way to do it. We'll get something set up where 100% of what you donate goes directly to his lovely wife and 4 beautiful children. So hold off on that. Trust me, we're going to get there. I promise you, we're gonna have that opportunity available when the time comes. So, but thank you for your generosity. Thank you. And I know there are probably 100,000 other families going through something similar right now. And I pray that they have a community that they can lean on. That's what we are, right? Love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. That's one of the 2 great commandments, right? That's the second of the great commandments. So, generosity is never to be taken for granted, and I know that they would never take it for granted. So I want to thank you for that, and stay tuned. Stay tuned. I don't know if it'll be this week or next week, but it won't be long. It won't be long. Next few days, we'll get you an update in a way that those who feel compelled or feel led can participate in helping ease some of the burden on the family. With that said, I told you guys last week I intended to, on Thursday, tell you where Blake Neff was working before he went to TPUSA. I have since learned with additional research, not only was he working somewhere before he went to TPUSA or to the Charlie Kirk Show, but he may have been working somewhere simultaneously with working for the Charlie Kirk Show, which could be interesting. Could be interesting, because my understanding is, well, I'll get to that. I do want to say one thing here. I don't often talk about mail call, but we got something in the mail. And this is a treasured piece to me now. And this is one of my favorite books I've ever read. I am going to put this on the top 10 list. It's called The Ideal Team Player by a brilliant guy named Pat Lencioni. Pat Lencioni wrote a number of great books. This is probably his seminal piece, I would guess. Probably the most famous piece, The Ideal Team Player. I've referenced it probably 5 or 6 times on this show, and you guys didn't even know it because I didn't properly credit Pat when I referenced the book, but I talk about certain characteristics of ideal people. I mentioned that I leaned heavily on this, believe it or not, when I eulogized my stepfather, talking about the ideal team player, because I feel like he was, in many ways, the ideal team player, had a lot of the characteristics of the ideal team player. And I got an email a couple of weeks ago, and it was somebody on Pat's team and said, he'd love to send you a signed copy of his book. And I was like, great. I'm not going to read it, but he sent a signed copy with a nice personalized message, and it was so beautiful. And I'm so thankful he did that. This is now going to take a place of prominence in my office. It was very humbling because I've looked up to Pat for a long time. Like he's a guru in his field, and to think he would think of the humble host enough to send a book along, a signed copy of a book, it was quite shocking to me, frankly. And I was thankful for that. So, Pat, if you or anybody in your staff is watching, thank you. I genuinely appreciate it. It means a lot. Now, let me get into sort of the meat of tonight. I'm going to do my opening as a profile on one Blake Neff, because I don't know that everybody knows exactly who he is. We know he's the weird guy on the Charlie Kirk Show. Everybody's kind of familiar with that Blake Neff. Well, he's the snippy guy on X that thinks he's cute. He's the guy on X that tries to own Candace all the time. I have a feeling he's one of the people with the terrible idea to try to troll the trolls using Charlie Kirk's stiff as a football, as a game. And it was frankly disgusting what they pulled off. And so I've got no love lost for this guy. I don't feel bad for him. I know there are people that greatly like him, and I have a lot of respect for those people. I'm not among them. I think he's a little squalor turd man, and I'm going to treat him appropriately, because I don't feel like he's acting in good faith. And by the time I get done with him tonight, I think you might agree. For those that don't know, Blake Neff is billed as the producer of the Charlie Kirk Show. But he didn't just come out of nowhere. He didn't just fall out of the sky as the producer of the Charlie Kirk Show. In fact, there's a long history that predates the Charlie Kirk Show. He served as the head writer of Tucker Carlson Tonight. That's where most people know him from. He was there from 2016 to 2020. But I want to put that term in context. That term is only part of his sort of story. You got to go all the way back, and I don't want to go back to his childhood. I'm not, when people are minors, that's their business. But he went to Dartmouth College. Dartmouth College, famous, of course, for people who can't get into Yale or Harvard. I'm kidding, Dartmouth fans. I'm kidding. I know there are people that Dartmouth's their number one school, and that's where they want to go. I was just messing around, just joking around. It's a beautiful school. It's a beautiful campus, a wonderful school. But while he was there, he's a double major, an actual double major, I think, unlike his current quasi boss or whatever Erica Kirk is to him. I think Blake actually earned his double major. I think he's a history and government major. He wrote for an independent conservative student newspaper called the Dartmouth Review. The Dartmouth Review produced people like Laura Ingraham, Dinesh D'Souza. It is independently operated. It's not affiliated technically with the Dartmouth administration, but it is run, I believe, almost entirely, if not entirely, by Dartmouth students. And so he gets this opportunity that not a lot of people have, and that is to get some real journalism experience, some real writing experience while in college outside of the classroom. After he gets done with Dartmouth, he goes to a postgraduate fellowship through an organization called the Collegiate Network. Now, the Collegiate Network is a program that connects students, conservative students, with journalism opportunities. These are people who want to affect change. These are people who want to be part of the public conversation. And the fellowship placed him at the Hill in Washington, D.C., the Hill publication. Now, I will say this. I believe everything I'm saying tonight is correct. It's possible I gloss over some fact or get some nitpicky thing wrong. So I will go ahead and blanket this whole bio with allegedly, in my opinion, and all that, but I don't think it is. I think it's pretty accurate. I sourced everything like that right there came out of the Dartmouth Alumni Magazine. I found an article, read it, talked about him getting the Collegiate Networks fellowship, but I don't know. I can't fact check that. I didn't call the Collegiate Network. I didn't call the Hill and ask them if that was accurate. I'm just going based on an article written about him. And so you get this period, I guess, 2009, 2010-ish, he'll be a freshman. He goes to Dartmouth. 2013, he graduates. He's written for the Dartmouth Review. And then he goes to the Collegiate Network, and they place him at the Hill. And from the Hill, he transitions to the Daily Caller. The Daily Caller was Tucker Carlson's outfit. He funded it. He founded the Daily Caller. And while he was there, he worked as an education correspondent. He also contributed some satirical pieces. And CNN reported that he published over 2,000 pieces at the Daily Caller. That's a pretty high output. That's a lot of work. Tucker Carlson took a particular affinity to some of his satirical work. And that connection, because he noticed him when Tucker Carlson goes to Fox News, Tucker takes Blake Neff with him to Tucker Carlson Tonight. This is either at the launch of Tucker Carlson Tonight in November 2016 or very shortly thereafter. I found different sources that said different things there. I don't know which is accurate. But eventually he rises to become the show's head writer. And he was responsible, according to him, for the first drafts of basically Tucker Carlson's teleprompter scripts. I don't know if it was all of them from front to back, if it was just the monologues. I don't know what it was, but while he's there, while he's at Tucker Carlson's shop from 2016 on, he is simultaneously maintaining an online persona on a little blog or a little website called Auto Admit. Auto Admit is it purported to be a law school admissions board. That's what it purported to be, a law school admissions board. The reality is it's just a racist, sexist, bigoted troll board. That's all it is. As part of prepping for this, I decided to go through and look at historical versions of this Auto Admit message board. I just picked like 10 random dates. I got on Wayback Machine and I picked like a month ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years, just random dates. And then I started clicking around and reading the post, and it is just filth. I mean, you can't even believe what they say on it. Like your bawdiest ever friend who has the most purple humor. You listen to that, and it's not what this website has. It's pretty on the nose for what we would think of as what Blake Neff might write for. So he fires this up around 2015, 2016. He goes, by 2015, we're pretty confident he's writing regularly on this Auto Admit board as Charles XII. 2016, he is now with Tucker Carlson full time. And then in July of 2020, a CNN investigation piece is published. And that CNN investigation piece names Blake Neff as this Charles XII persona on Auto Admit. And it starts quoting a lot of the stuff. We could talk about that in a moment. And immediately, Fox News leadership comes out and condemns him. How could you not? Tucker Carlson did not publicly denounce him, but he later confirmed publicly that that Fox News executives wanted him to. Now, I will say this about Tucker. There's something to be said for loyalty, even when it makes you look bad. And Tucker has repeatedly stated time and time and time again, his primary motivations are truth and loyalty. Like, that's it. If you had to distill his philosophy down to a nutshell, it's truth and loyalty. Just don't lie and don't hang your people out to dry. Don't hang people that you're loyal to out to dry. That's kind of his guiding principle. So it's keeping in character for Tucker to not say anything, to not hang Blake Neff out to dry, even though people are calling on him to do it. And then we get this mystery period. It's after Blake Neff leaves Tucker Carlson Tonight in July of 2020. And until we know he is now employed by TPUSA or the Charlie Kirk Show or whatever legal entity they have running over there, it's like a web of corporations over there. There's this in-between period where Blake Neff's publicly known work history goes dark. You can't find it. I've looked. I looked for a long time because he's a little squirt of a man who's mean and nasty. He's got this nasty history of being mean and nasty. He has this, thinks he's funny and smart, and he's not. He might be smart, but he's not funny. And I just don't care for him. And he's attacked people I care for. He's attacked your humble host. And I just wanted to know more about him. So I started this research project on him months ago where I just started, like, as I would come across information about him or as I had downtime and would do a little research, I started building this kind of profile. And I kept coming to this hole between July of 2022 and mid-summer, maybe late summer, July of 2020 and mid to late 2022. I could not find an answer. I kept digging. I called around. I called people that he knew that I knew, mutual friends. What did he do? Everyone's like, I don't really know what he did during that time. There were no public bylines. There were no podcast credits. There was no real social media activity, at least that he's taking credit for. There may be some alternate Charles the 12th profile out there where he's just like a totally chaotic, imbecile, but nothing that he's put in his name. In fact, he said he had never tweeted until September 25, 2025, I think after Charlie Kirk passed away. And that's where he tweets at Blake Neff. That's his Twitter handle. Now, Tucker Carlson said that Blake Neff at the time was weighing other employment options. And then in mid-2022-ish, we believe, Blake Neff surfaces. And he becomes Producer Blake. Producer Blake on the Charlie Kirk Show. Now, it's interesting to me because a lot of these producers we're learning are ops. I think that's just the only way I know how to say it. These producers we're learning as ops. We've covered another one on another show. Lest they get rowdy again, I have built a monster file on that producer. They don't want to mess with it. I promise you. They don't want to mess with it. So I've kind of called a truce, willing to go away. They're willing to go away. If they decide to poke their head back up, they're going to get jabbed in the nose. But Blake Neff has surfaced as Producer Blake on the Charlie Kirk Show. And his first kind of byline on the show is he co-hosts the inaugural episode of a podcast called Thought Crime. This was a weekly panel show, and it had Charlie Kirk on it. It had Jack Posobiec on it. And I don't remember the exact date that it started. I have a link to one of the early episodes, but I don't remember the date it started. But I think it was from what I can tell, it was his first on-camera appearance. It was his first regular on-campus appearance. He also appears on the Salem Radio Network's Charlie Kirk Show and has since Charlie Kirk passed away. He was described by Charlie Kirk as a true asset. So I'm not suggesting everything he's ever done is horrific. Just a lot of it, what he's done is horrific. But if you dig around, it looks like he was hired by Charlie Kirk to work on the Charlie Kirk Show back in mid to late 2022, although he's not publicly recognized until sort of May or June of 2023. Now, we get to the fatal day, September 10th, 2025. Charlie Kirk, as you know, taken down at Utah Valley University. Blake Neff was with him that day. He was on screen. We watched his stellar moves as he went in Blake Neff speed. He went this way, and then he went this way. He recounted the story with animation. It was pretty impressive watching him recount his story. His story's only changed a few times, and that's okay. They're critical times, and we've covered that as well. I don't want to recapture that story and bring it back into the present and redo it, but he was there that day, and he has become, whether he wanted to or not, a central figure in the TPUSA post-assassination narrative, primarily because he makes himself one. And I don't know if he does that because he enjoys it or if he does it to take the heat off of other people, but for whatever reason, Blake Neff cannot shut his fat mouth. He just must insert himself at all times when it's not called for. Typically mid to late evening, which makes me wonder if he's an alcoholic or does drugs. I don't know. I wouldn't dare suggest one or the other. But that's consistent with people I've known in the past who get hammered, pull out their phones, and start just firing off crazy tweets in the middle of the afternoon or middle of the evening that they would not fire off at 2 p.m. But he also, after the Charlie Kirk takedown, he opens up his X account, and that's where he kind of gets into trouble. He has this ongoing obsession, this creepy, weird, ongoing obsession with Candace Owens. It started back in, I would say, December. He kind of left her alone prior to that because Candace left Erica Kirk alone prior to that. Candace's approach to Erica Kirk was much like your humble host's approach to Erica Kirk. For the first several months, I just sort of sat back to watch to see how she did. I didn't go after her. I actually protected her quite a bit from commenters who were going after her. And I said, hey, we don't know what she did. We don't know how she's feeling. We don't know how she grieves. Let's just sit back and see how it goes. Well, over time, it became obvious she's nuts. So after you realize that, okay, now she's fair game. She's obviously a public figure. She won't go away. She's absolutely everywhere in public. She puts out these ridiculous alibis every time something comes up, and they never hold up. And it's just a weird thing. But Blake has this white knight syndrome. He always rushes to her defense. He's always rushing to. He's like the. To me, he's like the knights in the Black Knight in Monty Python. You know, where he's like got both arms and both legs cut off, and he's like, "Come here, I'll bite your leg off." That's what Blake reminds me of. Just a flesh wound. No, he's getting slaughtered on social media on a regular basis. People don't believe him. And now he continues on the Charlie Kirk Show. That's kind of his main gig. I don't know that he has another gig. That in Eternal Protector of Erica Kirk to Candace Owens. Like that's his thing. So now he's identified as a longtime producer of the show. He's appeared on TBN's Charlie Kirk Today. He was on Allie Beth Stuckey's Relatable. And he's been on Rumble. He's been on other platforms. I think that's accurate. Again, don't hold me to that if it turns out I missed something, but I'm pretty sure that's right. Now, prior to the revelation that he was kind of a racist bigot going after an Asian mega shrew, his words, not mine, and that he stalked for basically 5 years and encouraged other people to harass her as well, or at least make fun of her behind her back. Before that was made known, the Dartmouth Alumni Magazine ran a pretty flattering profile of Blake Neff in 2020. It became a central component of the CNN investigation. It contained the quote, anything Carlson is reading off the teleprompter, the first draft was written by me. End quote. That's Blake Neff bragging about how powerful he's become. Tucker Carlson at the time was without a doubt the most powerful conservative in the media. Period. End of story. This is either post or right about the time Rush Limbaugh passed away. Tucker Carlson was getting absurd numbers for cable news. Now, I mean, small numbers compared to what podcasts regularly do, but for cable news, he was getting absurd numbers, like 3, 4, 5 million views a night. I mean, that's just on cable news, it's unheard of. But it was that arrogance that he put off in that Dartmouth piece that helped Oliver Darcy from CNN finally link the Charles XII account to Blake Neff. And then after he made the link, the Dartmouth Alumni Magazine actually pulled the article because here they were lionizing this guy and he turned out to be a dirtbag. Now, let me transition to what he was doing during that time. What was he doing during that time? Well, first, let me do this, just in case you don't know. Let me just do a quick recap of Charles XII. CNN's investigation, if you read any kind of summary of it, or if you read the actual original reporting that they did about Blake Neff and Charles XII, they do some quotes of some of the things he said. I don't want to quote those in their entirety here, so I'm going to summarize them, try to clean them up a little bit. Regarding black people, he said he suggested black people play video games, and because they were playing video games, there was a crime reduction factor. In other words, if they weren't playing video games, they would be out robbing, looting, stealing, shooting, doing drugs, dealing drugs. But because they were playing video games, crime actually was reduced because of that. He actually went on to mock the idea that black Americans are tired, as if that was some kind of a trope. About Asian Americans, he once said he would not use a medical professional's services based on race alone. He characterized those concerned about the Washington Redskins name change as white libs and university-educated pets. And then most famously, he created and maintained a 5-year-long thread, including upwards of 700 posts, targeting a woman with whom he was Facebook friends, by the way. Someone he claimed to have met in person who worked at the school he attended at one time. He described her in sexually derogatory terms. He invited others to mock her. He made fun of her dating life. Her only sin, of course, was being single, which for some reason was tragic to Blake. And he posted on the thread as recently as June 28th, 2020, just a few days before the CNN story broke. CNN didn't name the woman, but she's not hard to find. And I do not encourage you to find her. Please do not contact her. And obviously, and probably most ironically, he had a host of posts using slurs against gay men, which shocked me when I figured that out. I was not expecting that development. Obviously, the pseudonym Charles XII is we believe, referencing Charles XII of Sweden. He was an 18th century monarch, known for his celibacy. We'll say that. Maybe involuntary celibacy, but celibacy nonetheless. But CNN gets an anonymous tip. They identify him as Blake Neff, Charles XII as Blake Neff. And they were able to do it because this genius, this super smart Blake, high IQ Blake, whatever they called him, actually put pictures of himself in the post. He didn't, I don't know if he knew he was, but like he went to Egypt, I think, for example, and he took pictures and his reflection was available in the screen. And then he put specific details about his life that other people were then able to cross-reference and verify. And so the story broke on like July 10th. Blake Neff resigned that day. The following day, July 11th, Fox News came out. The president or the CEO or something issued some internal memo talking about his horrific racist, misogynistic, homophobic behavior. And then on July 13th, unfortunately, Tucker Carlson was forced to address the story on air before he went on a vacation. I mean, it was not ideal situation that he put his employer in. So what was he doing? What was Blake Neff doing? Well, one thing he wasn't doing was apologizing. I have not been able to find, that doesn't mean one doesn't exist, but it was not readily available to me on my extended searches over several months. I was not able to find any kind of post-resignation apology or even acknowledgement. Now, he did say on his debut on X that Tucker Carlson tells the story of how he got doxxed and fired from Fox News, and that Charlie Kirk gave him a second chance. He said, until now, I've never tweeted, but Charlie is gone now. It's my duty to help people remember him. I don't know why that fell to him. I don't know why he felt like it was his duty. I don't know what he's doing to help people remember Charlie. He's really seems to have just taken to X to continue his harassment campaign, this time against a black woman instead of an Asian woman. Candace Owens instead of the, what his terms, Blake's terms, Asian megashrew. But he's never gone back and corrected the record or addressed what happened to him in 2020. Tucker Carlson has said that his posts were wrong and that they had no connection to his show, and that Blake Neff fell short of the high standard he expected of his employees, and that he's paid a high price for it. And I think that's pretty accurate. In September 2025, on the Charlie Kirk Show, on a podcast, Tucker Carlson said he's actually not a racist. Fox overreacted. It was the saddest moment in the 15 years I spent there. I feel like I've got a moral obligation to help Blake. And again, I go back to Tucker Carlson is just frankly, a damn good person. Apologize for the language, but that's what a loyal person does. You don't turn your back on people in their lowest moments. I always tell people, I don't want to judge people by their lowest moments. Blake's problem is his lowest moment continues. He never gets off of his lowest moment habits. He cannot stop himself from attacking minority women. And it gets old. And at a certain point, you just have to, you got to talk about it. So here are the other open questions. These are the kind of the open questions I could come up with. These were my notes. I'm just reading you from my notes that I've taken over the last several months. My number one open question was, what was his other employment option? What was he doing post Fox and before TPUSA? What was he doing? That was an open question to me. I could not find an answer. And I even say here, this remains the single most important unresolved question. I mean, that's word for word. what I had in my notes here. Another open question was I could never find the exact date he joined either Charlie Kirk or TPUSA. There's a lot of reference to 2022. I know by June of 2023, he was on air, so he had to be before that. There were references to producer Blake before that, but I could not find a specific date. I also couldn't find, and because I couldn't find it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I could never find a direct personal statement of accountability. A lot of times when you get caught in a situation like that, you come out and you say, hey, that's not who I am. I got carried away. It wasn't funny. I now know that, and I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry I've let the people down around me. I'm sorry I put Tucker Carlson and Fox News in a bad way. I hope people don't judge me by my lowest moment. I mean, say something. Say something. I couldn't find one. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, so I leave that as an open question. And I also put as an open question the full scope of his social media posts as either Charles XII, or did he have other pseudonymous, whatever the word is, posts? Did he have other posts under a pseudonym? Maybe on other message boards. It didn't have to just be auto admit. Was this the only instance, his Charles XII post? Did he have other fake names on that website? Did he have other fake names on other websites? Was he on Reddit? Was he on Twitter? I don't know. That's an open question. But what is no longer an open question to me is what was he doing in those intervening years, or at least the intervening months? Because I got a tip. On the show, I kind of asked the question, what was he doing before he went to work at TPUSA? And I finally got a tip. And they said he was working for another content creator. You should look into it. So I did. And I found nothing. I asked around. I could find nothing. So I go back to my source. What content creator are you talking about? Because I keep looking. I've asked around. I can find nobody. And they said he was working for Stu Peters. That's where he was working this whole time. That he worked as a writer for Stu Peters. And that shocked me. I don't follow Stu Peters. I never have. That doesn't mean I don't like Stu Peters. It doesn't mean that I think he's a bad guy. It doesn't mean that I think he's a horrible human being. I don't know him. I've never met Stu Peters. I've never talked to him. I've now talked to two former employees of Stu Peters who confirmed that Blake did in fact work there. He was an integral part of the team. And then I learned that he was actually still working there while he was on the Charlie Kirk Show. That he was still writing for Stu Peters as late 2023. And maybe beyond that. I don't know. Now, me mentioning this is not to say anyone who works for Stu Peters is a bad guy or Stu Peters is a bad guy. My point is the mission of Stu Peters is really, really not in line with the mission of TPUSA. Really not in line with the mission of TPUSA. Again, I am not a Stu Peters aficionado. I don't know much about Stu Peters. I looked him up on Wikipedia. Obviously heard his name, but I looked him up on Wikipedia. I'm just going to run through it. This is, again, not saying that everything you see here is accurate, but it is saying that the things we see here are at least kind of what's talked about publicly. He's an American alt-right internet personality known for promoting misinformation regarding C-19, homophobia, transphobia, anti-Semitic, white supremacist beliefs, such as denial of that event in Europe in the 40s. Endophobic sentiments. What's that even mean? I don't even know what that means. Prejudice, collective hatred, and discrimination directed at Indian people. Okay, I didn't know that. Again, I'm not suggesting Stu is any of these things. I'm just saying that publicly, these are kind of the thoughts of some people, right? And it's just different from what you would think of as the typical TPUSA employee. Says he was a rapper and a bounty hunter. I did not know that until I read into this. He launched the Stu Peters Show in 2020. That's about the time Blake was looking for a job after being cut loose from the Charlie Kirk Show. So that kind of lines up. Show routinely features conspiracy theories. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't hate that aspect about governmental organizations. Okay. Such as the CDC. All right. I'm in. And then he gets some list of guests here. They talk about his past. People have compared him to Alex Jones, QAnon, white supremacy, Jews, Hindus, LGBT. So it just seems different from what you would expect of a TPUSA employee. Again, this is not me saying that Stu is any of these things. I have no idea. Again, I don't follow Stu Peters. I don't know that I've seen clips on social media, but I don't know that I've ever sat down and watched a full show. Not a knock on him, anything like that. But when I learned he was working for him, I thought, well, what's his deal? What's he like? So that's when I started looking and really just started going down the list. It shocked me because if you look at Blake's social media profile, for example, just today, you go to Blake Neff on social media. Just today, Blake Neff has a post up. See if I can find it here. Well, I'll just share it with you and we'll look at it together. Very, very, kind of knocking people who are not in line with everything our greatest ally says. So, for example, this is him attacking black women again. Here we can see the latest thing Candace will fixate on for the next 2 weeks. As all important, the key to blowing the case wide open so that she has an excuse to harass more people. Oddly worded coming from Sneff, who spends most of his social media time harassing Candace Owens, as far as I can tell, at least in my opinion. Where he had something in here about, or is it gone now? He had something in here about the Israel and the deal or whatever that they just cut over there. I'll have to find it. Anyway, if you scan his social media and you listen to him on the Charlie Kirk Show, his persona is sort of a huge supporter of our greatest ally. And it's just very, very different than you would expect. Oh, here it is. Thank you, Daisy, for pointing this out. This is what I was looking for. Stray thought. This is from today at 3:05 p.m. Central Time, God's time. So just a few hours ago. Stray thought, a lot of the figures who have been the loudest calling Trump an Israeli puppet or claiming America is abetting genocide or calling the Iran conflict the worst disaster in American history or just generally obsessing with Israel nonstop, day in, day out, have had nothing to say, literally nothing, about the imminent peace agreement. You might think they would be eager to encourage the president along this path or telling their viewers and followers to be supportive. They might be gloating that Israel's politicians and general public seem unhappy with President Trump's latest decision. Instead, they apparently don't care. That seems interesting. This is the type of post that's not even worthy of a response. I'll give it one real quick. This is like the 37th peace agreement we've come across. Like this is a nonstop thing. So how are you supposed to keep getting excited about peace agreements? I've been excited about peace agreements like 13 times already. And I can't keep getting excited about peace agreements, Sneff. Especially when every time we seem to draw a peace agreement, the people you apparently love so much go on and destroy it and ruin it. They make it so nobody follows the peace agreement. That's the problem. So I bring all that up to say, I think he's a dishonest actor. I think the fact that he's never really addressed the controversy that put Tucker in such a horrific position. The fact that he's never taken full accountability for it. The fact that he's not answered any of the questions about where he's worked in the past, any of that. Now, again, I blanket this whole show with allegedly, in my opinion. I can only go with what my sources tell me. I cannot verify that he was working here or working there. But I will say I've talked with 2 former employees who worked there at the same time, and they claim he was a very integral part of the operation. I won't say everything they said he did, but it was integral part of the operation. I am curious if the board at TPUSA, if Erica Kirk, who seems to adore our greatest ally, I'm curious if those people know he worked there. And that, according to my sources, he was still working there while he was on the Charlie Kirk Show, while he was on that podcast, either producing or appearing on that podcast. For example, here is Prescott News talking about Blake Neff working at TPUSA as early as 2022. Again, my sources say that it was late in the fall, maybe as late as November or December of 2023, he was still working there. When Blake Neff first started working with Charlie Kirk in 2022, he doubted the conservative activists' message would land with its intended audience. Well, that makes sense because Blake Neff's way of trying to land with the audience is to attack Asians and black people. Charlie Kirk, not so much. I was like, young people are all libs. This is just not going to work, Neff told the Epic Times. Then he saw the fruits of Kirk's labor, scores of debates on college campuses, the mastery of social media, huge in-person events such as America Fest. In 2024, Turning Point Actions Get Out the Vote operation in purple states, which helped swing the presidential election for President Donald Trump. So there we have a reference to Blake Neff working there as early as 2022. Well, again, my sources tell me that Blake Neff was still working for Stu Peters after October of 2023. More than a year later. This is what I believe is Blake's first online appearance. This is a Rumble version of the Thought Crime podcast, episode 1. You will see in here Jack Posobiec, former Navy intelligence officer Jack Posobiec. You see Tyler Boyer here on the right-hand side. Speaking of duds, you've got Charlie Kirk in his chair and then Blake Neff watching on. There's no sound.
I'm not going to put up with this in my state. This is a bunch of nonsense. And I don't like Trump. What was he doing that was possibly more important? There were
guy can be Trumpism without Trump, so he can't trash him too hard. So he just seems to be very terrified that he seems to just hide from Trump, and it's like very obvious at this point.
Tyler, you have a thought?
Well, I was just gonna say this just shows.
Tyler's over here texting. Did you see that? Tyler's on a radio show. Look at him. He's engaged, man. He is listening to the show.
Be too close to Trump, probably because Trump will be far more charismatic.
He's swiping left. Is he on Grindr? That man is swiping.
Than him, and so he can't. But he can't.
And now he likes what he sees. He's not swiping anymore.
He just denounced Trump because his entire thing is like, well, I'm also very mad.
Now he's back to swiping. He just had to look. Just had to look for a second. Got to get a little gander. I have no idea what he was doing, by the way. He might have been on a very heterosexual site for all we know. I don't know what he was doing. He might have been shopping for groceries. Now, we've had to ask ourselves, can you find Blake? There's actually a whole game. Find Blake. We've got Blake over here. This is Blake in glasses, bald shirt, plaid shirt, unhappy, hard to impress. He's 8 times he's in here. So here's one version of Blake. He's here at the Turning Spot HQ. But can you find Blake? Is he in here? Is he at the Stu Peters network? No, I don't see Blake there. Is he at Box News? No, don't see Blake there. Is he at the Pentagon? We know he worked for the Marine Corps at one point. No. There's Blake. He's at the White House. Look at him. He's at the White House right there. There's Blake. Where else could Blake be? Oh, here he is. He's in Orlando. Is he there? You know who else was recently in Orlando? That's right, Lindsey Graham. He was there with a bubble wand. Is Blake holding a bubble wand? I don't see a bubble wand. Not in Arlington. There he is at the White House. We already found him. Here he is at Dartmouth. He's at Dartmouth. That's where he's meeting Asian mega shrews to harass, up here at Dartmouth. That's right. Got him over there. Oh, here he is again. He's in the land of cheese curds. The land of cheese curds, right next to Sioux Falls. Blake over there in the upper Midwest. Oh, here he is climbing a mountain. Is he into bears? That's him with a bear. Is he into bears? He's in Portlandia at a tech startup. Okay. There's more Blake up there. So we found Blake. All credit to Daisy for creating this amazing Can You Find Blake map. Not in Texas. Not in Texas, you see. No. Oh, here he is. Here he is. Next to a Mississippi riverboat. Next to an alligator. So they're hanging out in New Orleans. So there's our Can You Find Blake map. That's about what it felt like, trying to figure out where Blake has been during his hiatus between Fox News and before he went to work, or before he went to work for TPUSA, but then after he was staying on working at TPUSA. So I'm glad we were able to answer the question. Thank you to sources out there who saw me in desperate need, heard me mentioning, trying to figure out where was Blake. And there he was. There he was the whole time at the Stu Peters Network. I had no idea. I don't know if he was doing anything else at the time. I don't know if it was full-time work or contract work. I think it was contract work. I don't know how many days a week he was there, but it was a wild time. I mean, this has been I bet you I've been trying to solve this question for 5 or 6 months. You never know. You never know. The Blake back mountain. Oh, come on, guys. Come on. You guys are brutal. All right. I want to switch gears ever so slightly. Because the guy Blake worked for at one time, Charlie Kirk, of the eponymous Charlie Kirk Show, had some questions he wanted to ask. I don't think Blake would appreciate this because when other people ask these questions about who killed Charlie Kirk, how and why, Blake freaks out. Blake panics when people ask questions and suggest perhaps the Charlie Kirk takedown wasn't what it appears on its face. Charlie Kirk was not a stranger to asking similar questions about Butler. And after I play this, I want to talk about Candace's investigation into Butler and what I learned about Butler that she and I have now talked about.
The more we learn about Trump getting shot and the assassination attempt, the less it makes sense. This is one of the largest scandals in American history.
Charlie, baby, the more we learn about your takedown, the less sense it makes. And it is also one of the biggest scandals in American history. He's foreshadowing and he didn't even know it. If this was Hollywood, if this was a movie, you would take this script to a producer and they'd say, oh, come on. You are not going to have me believe that you guys are the good guys and you're asking all these questions about who killed Charlie Kirk, how and why, and Charlie Kirk's team is fighting you every step of the way, and they're pushing back and they don't like you and they're saying all these ugly things about you and they're calling you names and they're saying you're demonic for asking questions. And then late in the movie, an hour and 15 minutes in, you're going to stumble across a video of Charlie Kirk saying these exact things about another crime? No. Too unbelievable. That looks too much. The audience won't ever bite on that, sir. Go back and rewrite the script. But no. Exactly what happened.
Probably even the same as JFK. By the way, if it wasn't for divine providence, Donald Trump would be dead right now. 2 bullets went right by him, one of which hit him, and he got shot. We now know that the shooter was identified by Secret Service 3 hours beforehand.
Well, we now know that the alleged Charlie Kirk shooter was on the roof for 8 minutes and was actually videotaped by somebody who said, I saw him run in that direction and lay down right there. Keep that in mind as he makes his next statement here.
That there was a roof unattended.
A roof unattended, you say, Charlie?
120 yards away from Trump.
120 yards away, a roof unattended? What? Again, Hollywood writers are like, no. Stop it. That is so foolishness. We're never going to, the audience will never buy that the lead character who ended up assassinated from a roof that was unattended 120 yards away would have raised questions about an unattended roof 120 yards away and suggest that means there's some sort of a conspiracy. No. But yes.
In broad daylight,
Also broad daylight, just to keep the parallels going.
the shooter brought out a ladder from his car that he bought at Home Depot,
That part's actually not true, but that's irrelevant.
climbed the ladder,
He didn't climb the ladder. He climbed up an air conditioner and then scaled up the side of the wall. But that, it was a lot of fast moving parts early on. So he was a little off there, but that's okay.
with a rifle, set himself up. People saw him, Trump supporters.
Again, people saw the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk. People saw him. Nobody blew the whistle. Nobody started screaming, hey, there's a shooter on the roof. Get the guy off the stage. There's a shooter. Nobody said anything.
Police did nothing. Secret Service did nothing. He was able to set up a shot unobstructed of the president.
That guy allegedly was able to set up a shot unobstructed of Charlie Kirk.
How is this possible?
I asked myself the same question, Charlie. How is this possible?
Exactly. Was this malevolence? Was this just incompetence?
Yes.
This involved potentially dozens of people.
Whoa. Now stop it right there, sir. Are you suggesting, Charlie? I've got to bring you down for a second. I'm just disgusted at this point. Are you suggesting that once the FBI reaches a conclusion about an assassination attempt or success, that there could actually be a conspiracy involving dozens of people? Only the craziest people, Charlie Kirk, would believe such a thing. Lunatics like Candace Owens. Only lunatics, sir. Demonically influenced lunatics alone. That's it. You should be ashamed, Mr. Kirk, to suggest that the FBI, who fully investigates competently an assassination or an assassination attempt, and comes to the conclusion that it was a lone wolf, that they would be mistaken or dishonestly lying about it, and that there might be dozens of people involved? Dozens, did you say, Mr. Kirk? Dozens of people? Because that sounds a little Candace Owens-ish to me, if I'm being honest. Let's go back and hear that again.
Possible, exactly. Was this malevolence? Was this just incompetence? This involved potentially dozens of people that were in law enforcement. Oh, and even one more. Local law enforcement climbed up the ladder and the guy pointed a gun at him and he just walked away. Why wasn't there a call to take Trump off stage?
That's a great question. I asked that about Trump, but I also asked that about you. Why wasn't there, when all of your team showed up and said, man, this really looks bad, Charlie. Roofs everywhere and we can't cover this many roofs. Why didn't they have somebody whose sole job was to pay attention to the roofs? They had 13 security people on staff that day. That's the rumor. That's what your team, I think, said on the Sean Ryan show. 12 or 13 people. Why wasn't one of them put on a high position where they could see all the roofs? And as soon as they saw somebody, whatever the code word is today, purple, and you are gone. You are taken off the stage. You are covered by everybody, run to an SUV, and you are off campus 4 miles before anybody in the crowd knows what happened. I was in an event, a large event with, I think, more than 200,000 people. And there was a stage. And I know for a fact that the security had a word. And if that word went out over the radio, the stage was closed immediately and everybody was gone before anybody knew what was happening. I don't remember the word, but I know for a fact that was the case that day. I assume that's the case at all these events. I assume there was a get Charlie off the stage into the car and out of Orem, Utah word. I don't know what the word was. But let's just say the word was purple. It's got to be a word that you're not going to mistake for something else, like orange or purple. Some word that doesn't really silver, something that doesn't rhyme with much. But if it's silver and you say silver, 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 he is gone. Boom, out of there. Immediately he's covered and he's in an SUV and he is on his way to the airport. And everybody in the crowd going, what the hell just happened? And then somebody eventually will come out and say, guys, the show's over. We had an emergency. We do apologize. But that didn't happen that day, Charlie. Are you suggesting there could have been a conspiracy involving dozens of people, including law enforcement? Is that what you said?
Oh, we have a commotion. Take Trump off stage. Why didn't the counter sniper team go off scope and not do their job? Why was there no drone reconnaissance or...
All great questions. Why was there no drone reconnaissance? Why was there not something at a high level looking at these roofs your team was so terrified of?
helicopter support? I'm just the layman. I'm not a military guy. I'm not in personal protection, but I'm also not a moron.
That's hard. That's a tough line there. I may not be in personal protection or in the military, but I'm also not a moron. Well, your team was, because all these great suggestions you had, they incorporated almost none of them. They incorporated almost none of them. They did not have somebody on the high level watching roofs. They did not have drone or helicopter support. They did not have a way to get you off stage that I'm aware of. They acknowledged the threat. They've all said, oh, geez, we were pulling up and told Charlie, I don't like the looks of this, Charlie. It's okay. I'm brave. I'm Charlie Kirk. I'm Charlie Kirk. Well, sometimes you got to save people from themselves. He might be Charlie Kirk, and maybe he had a Superman neck, but it wasn't enough.
Was this a setup? What's going on?
Was this a what? Was this a setup, you ask, Mr. Kirk? Was this a setup, Mr. Kirk, you ask?
What's going on here? And the lack of concern from the media is so telling, because there are many members of the media that want Donald J. Trump dead, and they don't want to get to the bottom of this.
Are you suggesting, Mr. Kirk, that people who are not asking these very important questions when the story does not add up on its face, when the security team completely failed, when it looks like there might be the possibility of a conspiracy involving dozens of people, Mr. Kirk, is it your contention that means those people don't care about you, that they wanted you dead? Did I hear that correctly? Because that's what it sounded like you were saying.
Because there are many members of the media that want Donald J. Trump dead, and they don't want to get to the bottom of this.
They don't want to get to the bottom of this. Boy, I wouldn't want to be Blake Neff or Andrew Colvin or Tyler Boyer. I wouldn't want to be Kash Patel, Dan Bongina. Right now, Erica Kirk, Dr. Erica Kirk, wouldn't want to be Dr. Kirk. Because Charlie Kirk, the decedent, suggests that when things don't add up and this many failures took place, that it might suggest that there's a conspiracy involving dozens of people, including law enforcement or more. And that means they don't care about you. That means they don't want to get to the bottom of it.
We were 2 inches away from one of the darkest chapters in American history.
Well, unfortunately, we were not 2 inches away on September 10th in Orem, Utah.
No one has been fired.
That remains the case as far as I can tell. Dan Flood, his personal security guy, is still quite employed. Per Candace, he has been offered a raise and a promotion.
No one has resigned, and no one will probably be held accountable. But this is one of the strangest, most suspicious stories in American history.
Yeah, you're right.
Put in the comments what you think actually happened.
Well, you've got 9 months worth of my comments, sir, of what I think actually happened. I think there was a conspiracy to remove you from this planet. It involved, as you stated, dozens of people. And the people who do not want it investigated do not care about you and don't want to get to the bottom of it. They wanted you dead. That was your words, sir, not mine. Those were your words. But that's your team and your family that don't want to get to the bottom of it. There's been a lot made of the people who are not investigating this. Whether they've not addressed it or whether they're pushing back against an investigation. There's been a whole lot made about this. There's a whole lot that doesn't add up. We've covered it here for 9 months. There's a lot that doesn't add up, including Google searches from all over the world that don't add up. There's nobody in Israel that has an interest in 7 surgeons at, what's the name of the hospital? Timpanogos. And if they were using a VPN and routing their searches through Israel, that's even weirder, frankly. Because somebody was searching 7 surgeons over the course of about a week or two in mid-July, about the time you were becoming public enemy number 1 with your team. That's weird. That's weird. And then you add in the searches for Lance Twiggs, Tyler James Robinson. You add in the searches for the medical examiner, prosecutor, the judge, special agent in charge in Utah, the one who was fired and the one who was added. You add in the search names, the search terms for the different Discord people who were in the group. Addresses, buildings on campus. I mean, it just goes on and on. And that's just the first 8 episodes we did. That doesn't get into your, frankly, weirdly behaving wife of the last 9 months. That doesn't get into things like Candace was just talking about in her last episode, Friday, and today again. Your wife really pushing hard against our greatest ally, very anti-Zionist messaging with Tucker Carlson last July, interspersed between her very pro-Zionist speeches she was giving at the time and her very pro-Zionist position she's taken since then, going as far as saying anybody who doesn't support our greatest ally is basically a horrible person, not a Christian. It's difficult to watch this video. It's difficult to watch this video because you have to stop and think, what would he say about his own murder and the resulting lack of an investigation since then? It's pretty remarkable, frankly. It's pretty remarkable. What would he say about Blake Neff and Andrew Colvett? What would he say about his wife? What would he say about Kash Patel? Dan Bongina? What would he say about the prosecution team? What would he say about all these influencers who a group chat of theirs leaked recently because one of them got pissed off at the other ones? And you could see Britta and all the trolls on X. You could see them back there scheming behind the scenes, conspiring. What would he say about that? Like, he had strong words for people who didn't question weird assassination attempts. What would he say about people who refused to question a weird assassination? Not an attempt, but a successful assassination. I imagine, if I had to guess, I imagine his words would not be particularly kind. Yeah, what about the amazing Mikey McCoy? Rob McCoy. What do you think he would say about Frank Turek and his ever-changing stories about everything? What do you think he would say about the necklace? He'd be like, what the hell's up with the necklace? And how did Frank Turek's bag get in the SUV? I saw that question raised on X yesterday. And it was weird because in one podcast, I'll never find it off the top of my head, but in one podcast, Frank Turek indicates they just grabbed a random SUV and drove off. And as if it might not be the SUV they came in. Well, Frank Turek did not have his bag with him at the event, but he supposedly found Charlie's necklace draped over his bag. How did his bag get into that SUV? Now, maybe it was the same SUV and, Frank misspoke or I misunderstood what he was saying, but there's a lot of questions. I mean, Frank has told like 13 different stories about the same set of facts. Jack Hibbs doesn't know who called him first. How did Victor Marcus and Jack Hibbs know you were dead? And why did Jack Hibbs say someone in Israel told him you were dead? And Charlie, what time were you texting people the night before you died telling them you thought people were going to kill you? What time was that? Was that before or after the famous Zoom call with Josh Hammer and whatever the rabbi's name was? What time was that? What time did you text people? And what did you think about Dan Flood lying about it and Erica Kirk lying about it and Justin Strife lying about it? Allegedly. And who was your friend, Charlie? Who was your friend who told Harrison Smith that you confided in that person, that you were afraid Israel would kill you if you turned on them? Not to mention, did you really tell Erica all the time to raise babies, run Turning Point if anything ever happened to you? And you've been telling her that your whole marriage, even though you just married her 4 years ago? And at the time you married her, you'd had Turning Point for 9 years and you'd married her for like a day. But you're like, yes, this is the one who needs to run Turning Point. We'll come back from our honeymoon. And if something happens to me on a honeymoon, she will run Turning Point. All 5 days of her marriage. Did you really tell her that? And who are those kids in the alibi picture? And where was your wife the 2 or 3 days before you passed away? Was she really home making dinner for the kids? And if so, why is she putting a picture of her kids in a hotel, what looks like a hotel room? And why do those kids look so old when they're supposed to be yours? And why don't they look like anything like your kids? And did you really know your wife? Like, did you know her background? Did you know what she did in New York from the time she moved there with her cousin Nikki till you married her? Did you really know what she did? Did you really think she moved to China for 6 months to do humanitarian work? And why was she around so many people in the child transportation business? Or at least fighting child transportation? Did you know about the basketball player and the baseball player that she was checking? Did you know about all that? Did you know she was globetrotting with these people? Did you know her charity really wasn't real? I mean, like that didn't do anything? Did you know that it had never filed a 990 because it never raised or spent more than $50,000? Were you aware of that? Like, would you want anyone looking into any of this? What was your wife doing in 2017 in Paris at the exact same time Jeffrey Einstein of Island fame, Files fame? What was she doing there at the same time he was there? And he was emailing people about getting tea at the Ritz, and she was writing Yelp reviews or some kind of travel reviews of getting tea at the Ritz. What was she doing there? How could she afford that? What was her job? And why did she tell people she was a real estate agent when we can only find one rental that she ever actually transacted? Maybe there were more, but I can't find them. Can find a lot of other transactions from a lot of other real estate agents from the time, but none from her. And did you know that Tyler Boyer considered her a family friend, or she considered Tyler Boyer a family friend? Like, there's just a lot of questions. Did you think she had a double major when it doesn't appear she did? Did you think she graduated magna or summa cum laude? Like, did she tell you that when it doesn't look like she did? Did you know the type of work her parents did? Did you know where your people were when you weren't around? Like, did you know where Brian Harpole was traveling? Did you know where Dan Flood was? Do you know where these people were going in the months before you passed? After you passed? Did you know one of your planes stopped at Fort Huachuca a month after you died? 2 months after you, a month, less than a month after you died, I think. Did you know one of your planes stopped at Fort Huachuca for like 8 hours? This is long before Candace ever mentioned the word Fort Huachuca on the air. Like, if you knew any of that, Charlie, would you have questions about what happened to you? Did you know, have you ever shot a 30-06, Charlie? Do you know the damage a 30-06 does to flesh? Charlie, had you ever spent any time watching thousands of rounds of 30-06 fired on YouTube? Because I have, and seen how not a single round ever stops in the meat, whether it's a pork roast this big, it just blows right through it. It blows through 30 baking sheets all the way through. Did you watch any of those videos? Like, and if you did, and then they told you that you were taken down with a 30-06 in the neck and it did not come out of the back of your neck, like, would you believe that? Would you want that investigated? Would you want people looking into that? I'll say this right now. I 0% of me believes Charlie was shot in the neck with a 30-06 from the Losi Center. I'm not 100% on any positive, but I am 100% on that negative. Not a piece of me believes that. Not a piece. Not a piece of me. And speaking of Butler, Pennsylvania, I have since talked to Candace about this. Because I, for a long time, did not want to have this conversation about what I learned about Butler when I looked into it, not terribly long ago, a while back. She has different sources than I did. I talked to different people than she did. But the story was the same. And you guys have begged me to talk about this, and so I'm going to briefly. I'll just tell you what I learned that she also said. I'm not going to say anything that she didn't say yet. I was told by someone in the community that there was a death of a friend of Corey contemporaries, and that the death was suspicious, and that this guy was a explosives expert. And that he might have stumbled upon a plot to steal explosives and had begun looking into it when he mysteriously blew himself up or burned himself alive or something. I don't remember the exact story I was told. And that everybody kind of just shut the book on it and moved on. And Corey couldn't let it go. He said, that doesn't make sense. Something's wrong here. I don't like it. And he kept looking into it, and he kept looking into it, and he kept looking into it. And it was bothering people, and people were telling him to stop looking into it. And he kept looking into it because he didn't believe the story. And then he shows up at the Butler Farm Show event in July of 2024 and is led to that seat, that particular seat. And he was shot. And several other people were shot. More people were shot that day, or more people had gunshot injuries or injuries consistent with gunshot injuries than was publicly reported, including the nephew of Ronnie Jackson, the former White House physician, that he sustained a gunshot injury that was not made public, that there were 2 or 3 officers who sustained either shrapnel or gunshot injuries that were not reported, that there was another woman who was injured in the hand that was not reported. This was all coming from people in Butler. And I'll be honest, it freaked me out, because if there's I don't know, if it's intel or law enforcement or just a criminal ring to steal explosives and ship them potentially somewhere within the state and manufacture other things or store them or whatever it was. I just didn't believe that was a local operation. That sounded to me international at best. maybe government, high level government, military intelligence, something. And so I just stopped. I said, there's some things I don't want to know. Like there's stories I'm just not interested in following. I have a wife. I have 8 kids. I like my life. I love my life. I lived an amazing life, a fairy tale life, it feels like in a lot of ways. I have no interest in continuing looking at this. And so I just told the people I talked to, I'm over it. Like, I'm done. Thank you. Appreciate it, but I'm out. And just stopped. And kind of had made up my mind I would have nothing to do with that story ever again. And I honestly did not know that it would ever come up. But there I am watching Candace's show on Friday, and I'm like, sounds like she's going to talk about it. Sounds like she's going to talk about it. And she did today. And I will say this, like maybe slight difference on some of the facts that I heard versus what she heard, but I'm not saying mine are right and hers are wrong, or she's right and mine are wrong, or maybe it's just people different. You know, 2 people see the same story and they write about it a little differently. I don't know. But man, it sounded familiar when she was talking. It sounded really familiar when she was talking. And I think she's onto something. I think there's just too much there for that to be. But you got to think about kind of my fear as a kind of a smaller, I don't know what you call me, journalist, content creator, whatever. If there's an attempt on someone's life in the presence of a former president and current presidential candidate, presumed nominee for a major party ticket, who's in the process of selecting his VP candidate for the convention coming up the next month, and whatever group decides, or whatever it looks like, whatever group decides that's the day they're going to take this guy out, and it's at an event featuring the former president, could be next president, that's a high level operation. Like, that's not something I'm really interested in solving as in the position I was in at the time. You need big cover from a big creator. And that's kind of what Candace provided today. This big cover from a big creator. She hides in public, right? She hides in public. And so I'm interested to see where she goes with that story, because I gave up on it. And it, you know, I'll be the first to admit it. There's some stories I don't want to cover. And everybody kept asking, was it this? Was it that? You should cover it. You should talk about it. And I just didn't want to do it. Like, that is a big, big story. And I'm telling you, the people on the ground I talked to, they believe it with all their heart. And I've talked to her. We had different sources. So this is not like one person's fairy tale. These are different people that I don't think know each other, but both know Corey. And so I think there's something to it. I don't know. It's scary. It's scary. You know, I get the question a lot, is everything we believe fake? Is there anything we believe that's real? I don't know. I mean, the reality is I don't know much different from what she said. And the only thing I could possibly do is cite a different source, and I'm not going to do that. But the consequences of that, and the fact that Charlie was asking those same questions, like, hey, what's going on here? This doesn't add up. There's something wrong with this. Like, do I believe Thomas Matthew Crooks planned and executed that event on his own? No. I could show you, and maybe I will another, I don't think I have time to do it tonight. Maybe I will another night. I could show you deposition transcripts from the snipers on the roof. You remember the snipers and the one guy pulled back? And everyone was like, what was he doing? What was he scared of? If you read his deposition, he'll tell you precisely what he was doing and precisely what he was scared of. He was taking subsonic fire. He said he heard bullets whizzing by his head. Bzz, bzz, bzz. This is a trained sniper. He knows what a bullet whiz sounds like. He knows it's not a mosquito. He heard bullets whizzing by his head that did not have a report to them. Meaning there's no supersonic crack and there was no boom from the rifle. That means you have a silenced subsonic round coming at you. And it was a lot of them. Which means, in their opinion, not mine, in their opinion, in their testimony, someone was shooting at them. That could not, by definition, that could not have been Thomas Matthew Crooks. Thomas Matthew Crooks had an unsilenced AR-15. If a bullet was whizzing by their heads and he was shooting at them, they would have heard the sonic crack and they would have heard the boom, the associated boom associated with it. And then they didn't hear that. All they heard was a subsonic bzzz go by. Right there, you have a conspiracy. That means, and they said, and if you notice, they turned towards the trees because when you hear a bullet whiz by, you can hear where it came from and where it went. Their deposition testimony said that the bullets that were flying at them were coming from the trees behind them, not the roof in front of them where Thomas Matthew Crooks was eventually taken out, where he was lying prone. That's not where those bullets came from. So if that's the case, who was shooting them? And where did they go? Where were they? Why don't we have an answer for that? Why has no one addressed that? This is public deposition testimony. They testified that this was a fact. This was evidence they were giving in the investigation. That evidence has become public. I'm not the only one that knows about it. You can Google it. You can find this deposition testimony. You can find this deposition testimony. Subsonic rounds coming from behind them, not in front of them where Thomas Matthew Crooks was. That's why you see them pull their guns and look that way, behind them, because they believed they were taking fire from behind them. That's at least two shooters. That's Thomas Matthew Crooks, and that's the snipers. There's also great work done by a guy named John Cullen, where he talks about, you can see in the video, slow motion video, a bullet coming down the back row and hitting people's shirts and them reacting to it boop, 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 in order as it goes down the row. In the final frame of it, you see it skip off the back railing next to somebody. Well, that bullet was not in line with Thomas Matthew Crooks. It also wasn't in line with the trees behind the snipers. That's a third shooter. Now you have a third shooter. Well, if you have three shooters, a dead firefighter who was investigating his friend's death, a dead shooter that they pinned it all on, a patsy, which I think was the plan with Tyler James Robinson, a dead patsy they could pin it on, just like they did with Lee Harvey Oswald. You've got a real story on your hands. So you can see how your humble host gets this story. It falls in his lap and he's like, I can't. I mean, if these people can pull that off, I can't protect myself from that. I can't be the only person in America reporting this firefighter story. This potential theft of explosives story. I'd be too easy to take out. But now that Candace is reporting it, there's no value in taking me out. I don't know anything she hadn't said, really. So now I can say what I've heard. But I think my investigation was there were at least three shooters, maybe more. There were subsonic silenced rounds. That's not my testimony. That's the testimony of Secret Service snipers. Subsonic silenced rounds. And there's a dead firefighter who does not appear to be in the right position for Thomas Matthew Crooks to have shot him, meaning someone else may have shot him. And I think the reason we got underreporting on all the other injuries is I don't think those people were in the right line for Thomas Matthew Crooks either. Or maybe they didn't have the right rounds. And so you end up with this, as Charlie was saying in that video, this wild conspiracy involving potentially dozens of people. And I would suggest if you get that many, you got way more than dozens. You might have 100+ people involved in that conspiracy. And it was completely covered up with the death of Thomas Matthew Crooks. So why would it be so weird to accept that Charlie Kirk was a conspiracy? Why is that so weird? Why is that so weird? Why is that so hard for people to understand? Like, we've got deposition testimony from Secret Service snipers that it was not Thomas Matthew Crooks shooting at them, that they were taking subsonic suppressed fire from behind them from a different location. And for some reason, we're just going to ignore that. But that testimony exists. It potentially implicates dozens of people involved in a conspiracy. This took place at an event with Secret Service, by the way, not Brian Harpole and Dan Flood and Rick Cutler. You know, not some guys playing G.I. Joe on the weekend instead of actually training how to keep their guy alive. So why would it be so hard for me to believe? Why would it be so hard for Blake Neff to believe, for Andrew Colvin to believe, for Erica Kirk to believe? Why is it so hard for Kash Patel to believe or Dan Bongina to believe that there's more to that story with Charlie Kirk? It's a perfect parallel. It's a perfect parallel. I don't know that we'll ever get to the bottom of the Charlie Kirk show. I mean, the Charlie Kirk assassination attempt or assassination. I don't know that we'll ever get to the bottom of the Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt. I don't know if maybe these Secret Service people are no longer allowed to discuss it. I don't know if any news organization has reached out to them, if they figured out who their names are and they reached out and said, is this your testimony? Is this true? Did you take suppressed subsonic fire from behind you in the trees? I don't know if anybody's ever going to go interview the people there and say, we're like Ronnie Jackson. He's a public figure. I think he's in Congress or ran for Congress. Has anybody asked him, was your nephew really shot? Because he's not listed among the people who were injured. Was he really shot? You said he was shot. Was he shot? Has anybody contacted the nephew? Like, there's so much investigation that could be done on that event. Any one of those facts turns up to be accurate, and all of a sudden, you have yourself a conspiracy. All you need is one bullet in the wrong location, of the wrong caliber even. And you've got yourself a problem on your hands. I will add one small fact that Candace didn't mention today. The Fold AR that was stolen in Midland, Texas, was stolen shortly before the Butler, Pennsylvania event. It was stolen. There were some questions about where it was. And then on September 10th, the morning of Charlie Kirk's assassination, a request came in to the guy who produced and sold the weapon initially to run a trace on that weapon because it had been stolen a year and a half before. I don't know why the request came in that day. But could that weapon have been at both incidents? I don't know. Could there be a connection between both incidents? I don't know. Maybe. Could the people involved in the death of the original explosives expert have somehow been involved in the death of Charlie Kirk? I don't know. But I'm disappointed everybody stopped asking the question. I'm disappointed everybody stopped asking the question. And when I say everybody, I mean the New York Times, the Washington Post, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, NPR, PBS. large platforms that have a lot of cover to do investigations that are that serious and to uncover stories that big. It should not fall to small podcasters to do this. It should not fall to small podcasters to do this. And anybody who says 100% that Thomas Matthew Crooks planned and executed that by himself has to contend with the testimony of the Secret Service snipers who claimed they were taking suppressed subsonic fire from behind them. And to the extent you can't explain that away with your version of events, you have to open up the idea that there was at least 2 shooters. And I would suggest that round that John Cullen discovered that hit the back railing was a third shooter. Because that line does not add up to the trees behind the Secret Service. It lines up more with the water tower or maybe some trees over in that direction. Were there people in ghillie suits in the trees who sneaked off? I don't know. I don't know. But the question should be asked. I think the Butler investigation needs to publicly be reinvestigated, reopened, investigated publicly. And I think other people need to look into it. People with massive platforms. Massive platforms. Charlie Kirk was asking that question and he's dead. So that's that. If you've enjoyed the program, give it a like. If you have not subscribed, please do, if you want to. If you subscribe, let me show you something. Let me show you how to hit the notification button. A lot of people don't know this. I'm going to show you a secret. Oh, gosh. That's not the most flattering picture of me that's popped up. Let me open it in a different browser. That way that way I won't be the creator. And it will show you a different view. Because if I open it in my browser, it knows I'm me. And it won't. Okay, here we go. So let me show you what this looks like in another browser. And I'll give you a quick tour of how to do this properly. So the first thing you do is you come over here and you say, is your, I guess I am your home host. So don't ask, I'm not going to ask me that question, but am I subscribed? There's the subscribe button. Bink, you hit that. If you want to join the members program, you hit that join button right there. And a little option will come up to confirm you want to join. So that's to become a member, you hit that join button right there. That's a great way to support the program because that's just a monthly support for the program. But the subscribe there, when you click subscribe, you have this option to click notifications. You click all. Every time I do anything, you should get that message. So click subscribe and then hit your down arrow and hit all, and you'll get all the notifications. Now, I don't want to pad my subscription numbers, so I'm going to unsubscribe there. I don't think that's right to do. I'm not going to open one of my children's browsers and subscribe. I'm not that guy. But I encourage you, if you want to subscribe, by all means, please. If you want to just be a monthly contributor to the program and support the work we're doing here, you can join the members programs. You get some extra shows. I try to do one a week. I did not do one last week because of what was happening with my friend, but I do try to do a member show every week. I will do one this week. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow or Friday. I'll let you know early in the morning. And then I'll be back Wednesday for the live show, Thursday again for another live show. And then Friday, I'll either do the member show or take that day off. If I take tomorrow off, I'll do the member show Friday. If I do the member show tomorrow, I'll take Friday off. I try to get a day off each week. That, my friends, is a tour of the YouTube channel and how it works. But I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys joining me. And I will roll through some of your comments, mis amigos. Thank you for all your kind words and prayers for us cardiac deficient Bear Knights. 12 on my own, 4 more during the ablation process. It's all robo heart now. Time to start getting the bypasses. Thank you all. Pray for our friend here. Sounds like we got some health maladies taking place. Baron, mi rey. Sigue al máximo. Te quiero. Thank you, Rosie. Thank you. Te quiero también. How I describe Barron to my friends. He's an attorney. He's very smart. He has 8 kids, and he is not afraid to talk about his faith. This is my home and my people. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I genuinely appreciate it. I genuinely appreciate it. You're very kind. Blake watching? No. He's too busy writing 7th grade mean girl tweets for the FBI. Oh, do you think that's Blake? You think Blake is the FBI rapid response team? Could be. Could be. I don't know. Baron, long time no chat. I've been here, my friend. I had so many cry sessions with you in the popcorn in bed, but I am so much better. Great work. I am proud of you, and I love you. I love you too, Rosie, in English as well as Spanish. Baronisms. This is a high IQ outfit. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Christ is king indeed. Love the show. Wishing peace for your friend and his family. Yes, he has peace now. A truly decent man. I don't know a single person who is not better having known him. Just a prince of a human being. Did Candace change her blazer last minute? Why are we asking that? We got a Candace blazer scandal. I will say this. Candace? Yes on the headband. That's all I'm going to say. George, don't come for me. Yes on the headband. Oh, yeah, looks like she did change her blazer because her thumbnail had a patterned blazer and her show had a denim blazer. Good catch. Good catch. You guys are sharp. Nothing gets past the jury. Oh, no. Blakey, time to come out and play. Blake. I wonder if the girl he harassed is watching. That's a good question. If so, hello. I don't think you're an Asian mega shrew. I think you're probably fantastic, which is why he's so angry with you. The empty frame in your wall is suddenly deeper than ever and spiritual. With Candace probing the Butler case tonight, the connection is on a simulation level. There are wordless, palpable parallels here. That's hard to say. I agree with you. I've looked over the footage of Butler behind Trump. No one reacts, and definitely not to someone getting shot in the crowd. Why? I'm so confused. Christ is king indeed. I will say this. Look at the difference in the reaction to what happened at the Charlie Kirk event in Orem, Utah, and what happened at the Donald Trump event in Butler, Pennsylvania. 2 totally different crowd reactions. I don't know why. But with Charlie Kirk, everyone hits the deck and immediately starts scampering. With Trump, everyone just sort of stood there. I mean, a few people hit the deck, but a lot of people just stood there. I don't know the difference. Baron is a diamond. Oh, thank you, Stacy Jane Platt. You're a diamond. A new nickname is Need for Such Dumb Takes Blaked Potato. Blake Potato. Sorry for your loss, Baron. I'm glad you got to see him before he passed. Praying for you and the family. Yeah, I shared that sentiment with my wife last night after learning the news when I got off the air. I'm really glad I went. I'm really glad I went. He was very loved, and he knew it at the end. All of his family, friends, not all of his friends. He had more friends that could fit in there, but several friends there, all of his family there. It was nice. Happy to be back on time and alive. It's been a taxing weekend. I hope you're doing well. We got a memo dropping on someone's head. Thank you, Princess. Baron, I'm sorry if you lost. Just want you to know I'm mostly a silent listener, but you really do amazing work. Everyone in your life is really proud, I'm sure. Us in the grand jury are. Christ is still king? Of course. Indeed. God bless you, brother. Oh, you got a Scuderia logo there. Nice. Thank you for your tireless work. As a community, we all love you and your family. Much love from Rochester, UK. Not our greatest ally. God bless. Christ is king indeed. Rochester. Blake was working at Subway with Jared. No, I couldn't find that. Baron, just know that if anything ever happens to you, we will not rest until we know why and that your family's cared for. You have an army here. I don't know if I told this story. When we were flying into to Phoenix, Our plane comes in and gets ready to land. I'm the only one of my friends on this plane. They were on other planes. The plane comes in, gets ready to land, gets right down to the runway, and then immediately starts accelerating and back off in the air and starts circling. Your humble host was a little disturbed. Everyone else seemed fine. I had earbuds come out. I'm listening for an announcement. What's going on? Nothing. 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes goes by, nothing. We're just circling Phoenix. I mean, it's pretty, but I'd rather be on the ground at this point. Pilot finally comes on and says, just wanted to let you know what happened there. We're running through some checklists here. We think everything's all right. That's never what you want to hear on a plane. I want certainty. I don't want your thoughts. I want your knowledge. And he said, right before they landed, a sensor came on that indicated the brakes weren't working. Well, when you're hitting the ground at a high rate of speed, the last thing you want is a lack of brakes. So to be sure, they went up in the air, circled around. They did some checks and said they think it's just a sensor, but we'll go through the precautions anyway. So we went through the precautions. Had the emergency vehicles out on the runway and all that. And touched down without incident. It was a largely uneventful landing, but I was not amused. And I was texting a few people. Hey, if something happens and I don't make it, I want this investigated. Like, I want to know why the brakes didn't work. They told us the brakes might not work when we hit the ground. We've got emergency vehicles waiting. We're going through a crash protocol. I need you guys to check this out. Does anyone know I'm on this plane? Like, I didn't tell anyone where I was going. Bubba Baron, what brand of earbuds do you use while recording? I can't handle the bulky earmuffs. Love your show and all your members. The brand, let me look up. I've got 3 different kinds of these. Let me make sure I get the right kind here. So these I have in now these are Shure 425 Pros, SHURE, Shure. No, that's not right. These are 215 Pros. I also have a pair of 425 Pros, and I have a pair of that I rarely break out. Let me see if I can find these. I'm looking through my Amazon purchase history. I have a pair of 846 Gen 2 Pros. Those are really sharp, but they don't really, it's not worth putting the wear and tear on them for what I'm doing right now. Because it's just my voice, and the 215s do fine on my voice, and the 846s are expensive. So I don't want to risk tearing those up for no reason, just to hear myself better while I'm podcasting. The 215s are fine for podcasting. If you're doing any kind of heavy editing and sound is really important. What was the other one? The 425s are really good for the money. They're not terribly expensive. You can get them for under $300 delivered. The other ones are pricey. I'll be honest with you. The 846s are pricey, but they're good. They're really good. So if I'm editing anything, I wear those. But if I'm just podcasting, I wear the 215s. They're like $100. They're not bad. And they do a really good job. The other ones are kind of intermediate. And I don't even know why I have them, to be honest with you. I kind of bought them thinking maybe I would wear those more when I'm podcasting, but these are fine. These are fine. These are they're comfortable, they fit. I don't even know they're in there. I don't know how. I know people who podcast without headphones. I don't understand how they do it, because I get so much information, not feedback but feedback in terms of information in my ears from how I'm moving around the microphone based on these. I do not understand how people podcast without them. I don't get it. I hope that helps you. I can't handle the bulky. Yeah. Love your show and all your members. Christ is King indeed, sir. Thank you. Prayers for your friend's wife and her healing. Oh, indeed. Prayers for your friend's fam. Pat just got some advertising. Yeah, Pat Lencioni. He's great. He wrote a book called Working Genius. My wife and I believe in it. We both took the Working Genius test online. It's like $25. Gives you so much information. And if you are married and have any kind of issues in your marriage, it's not a bad test to take because it lets you know maybe what your different styles are, and maybe you're expecting something out of your spouse because that's the way you operate. It's not like a personality test. It's just a like how you do stuff test. And it's really good. And the book is excellent. They have a podcast on The Working Genius. I listened to like 40 episodes of it. It's great. I'm a true believer in Pat Lencioni's Working Genius model. I call it the widget model because the letters add up and spell widget. I'm a WD, if you guys are wondering. If you read The Working Genius and you want to know what I am, I'm a WD, which explains a lot once you know what that means. So sorry for your loss. Sending prayers to all. Grief is the ultimate price we pay for those we love dearly and genuinely. Unless you're EK. Christ is king indeed. I'm going to let that go. Blake just looks just like Tom Cruise in Tropic. Yeah, kind of. That's a funny movie. You couldn't make that movie today. It says the R word. God bless your friend and family. Prayers for 13-year-old Carter Fuller's fam. Passed a few days ago in an ATV accident. He was with my 13-year-old son and 2 friends when this happened. My son is devastated and the community is suffering. I can imagine. Oh my gosh, I can imagine. Those ATVs are scary to me. 2 things my kids don't do. ATVs or golf cart ATV. I kind of put them all together. We don't do golf carts. We don't do ATVs, and we don't do trampolines. Our family does not do those. Wow, I made it in time for a live Baron. Thank you for all you do. I'm sending prayers to you, your family, and your friends. Family, Christ is king indeed. Thank you. Appreciate that. Mabi took his ring off already. I had a kettlebell workout today. What are you talking about? I was doing double kettlebell hang clean and jerks. You think I'm going to do that with a ring on? I'll tear my hand off. I don't. I want you to go out there and do, how many did I end up doing? 12, 12, 10, 10, 13. So 12, 24, plus 20 is 44, plus 13, 57. And kettlebells are heavy. 57. I was doing 2-minute rounds. Each round, 2-minute rounds with a 1-minute rest. So it's a 2-1 work rest. You do a 250-meter row. And then in the remaining time of your 2 minutes, that usually took a little under a minute. In that remaining time, you have to do AMRAP, double kettlebell hang clean and jerks. So you come up, establish a hang, and then you got to clean them and jerk them overhead. Lock them out, guys. None of this business. We're not doing Pete Hegseth reps. We're locking them out. And oh man, that added up quick. First round, I was like, this isn't too bad. I'll be fine. Round 4 and 5, I was gasping. I think our neighbors thought I was dying. So it's not the ring. It's not my wife. It's the kettlebells. So sorry, very sorry for your loss, Baron. Very bittersweet send-off. Prayers for his wife or children that they feel comfort during this time. Thank you. They appreciate your prayers. I know they do. Pat Lencioni's amazing. I saw him talk at a Focus conference in 2010. Fantastic. He is truly fantastic. If you don't follow Pat, you're missing out. He just truly has an unreal understanding of the human condition and the way people interact with each other. It's fantastic. Mostly work stuff, but not only. You can apply a lot of his principles to your family. I'm sorry for your loss, B. I hope this goofy comment isn't inappropriate. Yeah, I'm sure it won't. I'll be the judge of that. Candace read my comment today. Pretty chuffed. What does chuffed mean? Angry? It sounds angry. Chuffed. Oh, a British slang that means highly pleased. She's chuffed. She even pronounced my name correctly. Think dog leash. Love you, Baron. History will remember you and your efforts to crack this open. Thank you. I appreciate that. Anti-leash. I would have said leash, if I'm being honest. But good. I do remember her saying that. This show has been a welcome distraction, although I need to catch up on a few episodes. God bless you and this community, Baron. It still feels unreal, and my heart hurts for his mom, dad, and bros. Talking about Charlie? He only had a sister. He didn't have brothers. Unless you mean brothers in the brothers in Christ sense. I just got to say, brother, you're cooler than the other side of the pillow. Keep going down rabbi holes, even though we lose the T's. I appreciate that. That was a Stuart Scott reference, I believe. My dad passed from C So I get your pain. Christ is king indeed. I'm sorry to hear about your loss. It's nasty, man. It's a nasty disease. Let's extend the opportunity for those who are still on the other side and may not be directly implicated in this to join us. How can you not see by now how incredibly close we are? Your souls are at risk. Call me. If you're not involved, reach out. I won't tell anyone you reached out. I will take that to the grave. I'll say this. Some of you at TPUSA already have. You don't know who they are either, do you? No, because I take that to the grave. Did Charlie call Blake's references? I mean, he had the ultimate reference, right? The GOAT, Tucker. Tucker, you don't need references when he calls. You're good. Blake is a rabid anti-Candite. Think Seinfeld's dentist Watley. An anti-dentite? Are you an anti-dentite, Jerry? He's an anti-dentite. Yes. I use that a lot. My wife and I make fun of people all the time by calling him anti-something. In reference to Seinfeld's anti-dentite. So anti-Candite. I like that. I'll allow it. My son, Blake, double majored in fake and gay. Oh, your son sounds brilliant. Waiting for creators memes, how everything is Candace's fault. TPUSA loses chapters. Look what Candace has done. EK gains 5 pounds. Look what Candace has done. Has she gained weight? Off the couch, off the carbs? Come on, lady. Tighten up. We're not going to allow it. I know you got the knuckle issue going on, but that doesn't mean you have to give into it. You can fight it. But Baron, I'm American, and you're amazing. You're an amazing American. De Americano. Thank you for your courage. You and others like Candace inspire us all. Thanks for educating us. Oh, thank you. CVO 688. That's very kind of you. You're also an amazing American. Don't sell yourself short. Correction, it's producer Snaky Sniff Speed. Oh, Blakey, don't you know messing with the principal is messing with the jury? Reason number 20 of why I love Baron, Monty Python reference. Yes. That reminds me. I'll bite your leg off. Did Jen, the producer, really send you a cease and desist? Saw that she claimed in her comments on X. If she has, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen one. Where did she send it? I don't think so. If she has, I've already made up my mind. I really don't want to talk about them anymore either. I have put together a hell of a dossier, though, if she ever comes after me. I even know her real name. I know a lot. You can find a lot once you find the real name. Johnny 2 times. Banger after banger. Love the bean paste. Wiggle on. I love you and this community. Christ is king. It's just a flesh wound. It's a great movie. I bought the Holy Mackerel t-shirt for my grandma for her 86th birthday. She loves fishing and is a minister. It was perfect for her. She loved it. Christ is king indeed. She sounds amazing. 86 years old. Like and subscribe if you're so inclined. YouTube, Blake. Oh, Blake's a member. He wants to know what goes on in the member shows. I wonder if there are any Asian or Black donors that approve of Blake at TPUSA. Could Blake have written the speech of Erica on the 12th? Charles the 12th? Charles! What? Maybe. Breaking news. While we are distracted, Trump is building a military base in Gaza for our combined militaries to begin the colonization. See Sabby Sabs. I will. That sounds interesting to me. Merely a flesh wound. I spit my water out. Love Monty Python. Who doesn't? I don't want to get married. I'm sorry to hear your friend's passing. Praying for his family. Thank you for all the hard work you do. Love from Cowpens, South Carolina. By the way, I didn't vote for Graham. I don't think it mattered. I think it was rigged. No way he won 60-30 or whatever. Found Charlie Kirk in 2020 election. Then Kerry Lake's steal. I immediately thought Charlie Kirk didn't care for Neff. He actually irritated him. Sorry about your friend. He's in my prayers. I lost my brother in May. Well, I'm sorry for your loss. Christ is king indeed. Love you, Baron. The TP board has been silent on everything. Time to consider they're just as complicit as EK, AK, and all the others. I've considered it. Baron, I love your show. You are brilliant and funny. By the way, can you give me one creepy Erica Demon Eyes impression? Oh, you think I'm like a circus monkey? I just perform on command? Yes, I can. I don't know if that was my best effort, but that was an effort. I like to correct the principal. The town is pronounced Keating. She had me rolling with how she said it today. Perks of living around the area and being your number one fan. Western Pennsylvania fan. Christ is king indeed. I'd never even heard of it. B. That guy might be a big dummy. Ben wears tiny hats, rides a tiny horse, and operates with a tiny mind to match. We got to give up on the horse, guys. But you, Blake, are just a bigoted, bald, edgelord coasting at best on mediocrity. Christ is king indeed. Ivan, I'll allow it. Erica routinely posts Charlie video pictures on her social media every time you and Principal are right over the target. Keep going, Max. Well, then she's going to be posting a lot in the future. Love you, Baron. I'm not watching right now. I'll watch you later tonight, but I wanted to thank you so very much for boost for my new YouTube channel. God bless you and family and dear friend Charles. Christ is king. Blessings to all. Thank you. Very kind of. 3% say he isn't watching. We still have Joe's. That's funny. That's funny. I forgot that was running and I don't know how to turn it off. I mean, I do, but I'd have to open it back up and all that. We'll just let it roll. Let it roll, baby. Stu Peters on Jimmy Dore bashing EK. I don't know. Like I said, I don't follow Stu. I don't have a problem with him because I don't know much about him. I knew so little about him. I had to use Wikipedia just to find out like some background. And it's not a knock on Stu. There's a lot of people I don't know about who are excellent creators, who have brilliant minds, who do great investigatory work, who examine issues in a brilliant way. I can't watch everybody. So that's not a knock on him. It's not me telling people not to watch him or not to trust him. I just don't know much about him. Don't know much about him. Baron, you posted Stu's exploding mic theory video several months ago on your show. I believe you. I mean, I told you I've seen clips. I don't remember doing that, but I don't doubt it. But I mean, that doesn't mean I'm a regular. Stu P was kind enough to interview several of the C protocol widows. Obvious conspiracy. I agree with that. Hey, Blakey, get EK to start a charity for the protocol widows with small children. You know the stories are real. Not a bad idea. Baron, from your new biggest fan in Topeka, Kansas, you say that Sneffy appears to be a dishonest actor. Are there any seemingly honest actors at TPUSA at this point? Keep going, Max. Christ is king indeed. Yes. Not any of the big names. Not any of the big names, but yeah, there are some because Blake has asked one woman out ever. Do you know that for a fact? I've not heard that. She rejected him. Oh. He then saw her as a mega shrew under the Victorian fainting couch handle. Charles XII, drama queen. Do we know he asked her out? I hadn't heard that. I don't know if that's true or not. Blake gives incel vibes. He hates women because he can't get any. Does the humble host agree? All the way from Tioga County, Pennsylvania, home of the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon. Didn't know you had one. Do I agree he's an incel? I don't know. I don't know him personally, but I agree he kind of gives off that vibe. Meant Jimmy Dore, not Jimmy Dyer. Oh, I corrected it. Far from it. Great man. Oh, Jimmy's fantastic. Love Jimmy. Love Jimmy. Mildly interesting show. Thank you. Appreciate that. Mildly interesting comment. So sorry about your dear friend. Please listen to Sarah Hart's song, May the Angels Lead You Home. She is a Catholic artist. It'll be beautiful for the Mass #1 fan in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, home of the University of Southern Mississippi. They put Blakey in a corner. He's big mad. Oh, no. Well, he'll get over it. Barron had my women's Bible study today. We all prayed for your friend and his wife and children. May he rest easy in the arms of the Lord. Ladies also asked if there was a way to help the family. Let me know. Christ is King. Indeed. I will be letting you know soon. So I promise you I will let you know all that. I will let you know. But thank you. Big B, can you please give Melanie, a.k.a. Tinfoil Tierra, a happy birthday? Shout out. She kind of a big deal. We love you. Tinfoil Tiara? What an awesome nickname. Happy birthday, Melanie. I hope it's amazing. Baron, continue prayers for you and your friends and family. Thank you for all you do. Love. From #1 North Central Texas fan, Denton County, to be specific. Denton County. Is that that's north of Dallas, right? Bubba Juan Blakey. He gives Bubba Juan vibes. Here's the thing with Blake. I would have totally left Blake alone if Blake would just be normal and not go on this like attack dog mode. Whatever he's doing is not working. I don't like it. It's not. And so if you're going to do that, I want to know more about you. You know? Just like I had to know more about Alex Clark when she was on that stupid trip. Alex Clark blocked me. I've never interacted with her. I've never reached out to her. I've never texted her. I've never sent her a message. I've never interacted with her X feed that I'm aware of. But I got on there the other day to read something and I was blocked. Iggy. Blake looks like he's aging in dog years. Well, that's not very kind. Not inaccurate, but not kind. Finding Blake is like, where's Waldo? Yes, that was the game. Speaking of duds, Baron, insert YouTube TPUSA EK commercial. There will come a day speech. I don't know that speech. Do you? I don't know. Boise Jet Guy has updated his handle. He's now Egyptian Jet Guy. But did you see the video of the Butler Pew Pew location at the exact same time of the Pew Pew, only to not see a Pew Pewer? No. Truth and loyalty is what we also see in you, sir, our humble host. It's so sad that the same can't be said about TPUSA 2.0. Kristen, thank you, Critter. Appreciate that. Baron DT made a post about peace and security yesterday. Strange capitalization, like weird terror thing Jesse discovered. Read 1 Thessalonians 5:3 ASAP. Focus on phrase peace and security. Well, did he post it to X? Because I don't get on Truth Social. I don't even know what that is. Hold, please. What's his name? Real Donald Trump. There he is. Do you have a post up? No, his last post was May 19th, so I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to that stupid site. Sorry. I don't know anything about it. They did have people posted above him on top of that walkway. They had to have seen TR. There's no excuse. Love you, my B. Jesus loves you. There were 2 people up there. There was a police officer and a TPUSA guy. I don't know how they didn't see him. Unobstructed, like the 2 trees cut in the air. Don't know what that means. I'm sorry for your loss. My friend's 25-year-old son had a terrible accident, and they don't think he'll make it. Asking for prayers. Christ is King indeed. That's like the prime of life right there. That's more prime than 18. I got 25 to 29. You know, you got a little freedom. That's so terrible. I pray for you. Brian H. said they started the security plan August 24. Didn't that include boots on the ground? Did CK know what the site looked like, or did he go blind? There's been a lot of questions about that. We're not exactly sure what that involved and if they actually had boots on the ground ahead of time or not. One wonders because they one wonders whether they had boots on the ground because they all acted shocked that that the roofs were that way, and it was kind of like a shooting gallery. So obviously they didn't go. I mean, I wouldn't think. And subconsciously, I think Tucker knows his sass speech pushed the wrong buttons, doesn't want to come to terms with such evil and the responsibility. That's not on Tucker. This is America. You should be able to have freedom of speech and the government not kill you. You know, I mean, this is where, if that's where we are, this is a different country than we thought. Sorry for your loss, but rejoicing is in his victory won. He did win the victory. Faithful right to the end. Meanwhile, Judy had a level 33 LBD day. So I'm late. I don't know what that means, but I hope it's amazing, BJ. Can't wait to watch on Neffin Blake Neff speed. Thank you so much. My B. Thank you for everything. And Miss Daisy Do. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. It's been a while since I've cried for Charlie. That was hard to listen to, even though it's what we've been saying the whole time. Hearing it out of his mouth, though, keep going, Max. R.I.P. Charlie Kirk. That was hard to hear it out of his mouth. That we're all basically saying exactly what he said. Baron. Stu talks about very unpopular facts. The jabbed, dead or alive, emitting Bluetooth signals, fridge magnets sticking to vax arms, and the Philadelphia problem. Christ is King indeed. You know, you can stick a magnet to my mom's arm where she got the vaccine. Like, I've seen it in person. Like, you can run the magnet over and you can feel it pulling on her arm when you get to that spot. It's weird. And there's no metal in that arm. Like, that's just whatever it is. Take it from your humble host. I recorded it. Just a refrigerator magnet. Pull it off, stick it right to her arm. Creepy. CK was more concerned about DJT in 3 minutes than all the Trumps combined in 9 months. My heart breaks. So difficult to watch and hear. Nothing to add there. You're exactly right. Got Basmati to try your recipe and share with Mom. Christ is King indeed. You're about to have good rice. You're about to have excellent rice. Still praying for your family, your friend, and his family. So glad we have you, B. Thank you, Mrs. Coleman and your kids, for allowing you to do this. We appreciate them. Happy you got to spend time with grandbaby. Best medicine. I got to hold her last night and today. A wonderful day. Always a wonderful day. When you lay eyes on perfection, not everybody gets to see perfection. Wow, CK, own words months before. So eerie. Chills indeed. Regarding Butler, Whit Webb's article on Isabel Max talks about tech and explosions, IDF, and names such as Roths, Epst. A worry for ballroom. Yeah. I'll have to check that out. Whitney Webb does really good work. Ivan, you're not asking questions. You're complicit, and you're going to hell. Christ is King indeed. Those are hard words. Baron, sorry for your loss. Can I recommend 1984 to your book list? I started this book last week, and oh my, it's like Orwell was a time traveler. So I really do like that book, and maybe I'll put it on there because it is really good. And the end is kind of amazing, frankly. Now, I will say this. When my daughter was about 6 months old, they say read your books to your kids when they're little. I read her 1984. She didn't understand a word of it. I just wanted her to hear the spoken word. So sorry for your loss, Baron. Thank you for your passion, dedication, integrity, and seeking justice for Charlie Kirk. You are greatly appreciated. Love and prayers for you and everyone. God bless. God bless you. Thank you. C. Phillips, buddy with CK and EK's ex. Weird. Oh, you're talking about Cabot? Yes, I mean, maybe. Sadly, I'm angrier now than I was when it first happened. Yeah, I am too. When it first happened, we kind of all accepted. In the past, I think my husband was jealous of me listening to you. Now, when I tell him I'm off to listen to RBP, he says, okay. Secretly meaning he has a break. Oh, happily married 10 years. Christ is King indeed. Sir, you're welcome. You're welcome. Baron, this is a great Charlie Kirk quote. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right. A great quote on a t-shirt with credit Charlie Kirk. Nurse Casey, I worry about that because TPUSA is run by psychos, and I'm worried they would try to trademark that or like put a copyright claim or something. Your hypothetical questioning to Charlie Kirk made me realize they couldn't let Butler happen with him because they would have been screwed. But, well, I don't know. I guess I don't understand your question because it sounds like, kind of what happened to Butler. Took him out. So this is new TPUSA at the level that Dear Beebster wanted, perhaps. I'm crying again listening to you asking Charlie about what he'd think about what happened to him. It's beyond heartbreaking. R.I.P. Sweet Charlie. It is hard to hear. Hello, my B. Say hi to Katie. She's teaching me the path of Coleman. Keep on digging, brother. I think Erica is evil. Katie, you sound brilliant. The path of Coleman. That sounds like a religious movement. I don't want to be confused here, but I'll allow it. No, I'm just kidding. Seems creepy to me how EK refers to the kids as my babies and Charlie as my husband, just like Victor Mark says, my bride. If she spent her locked away Bible time, aka conditioning, it would make sense. Well, let me say this about the my babies comment. She does refer to them as my babies. She says the word precious all the time. And she broke down crying the other day on an email where somebody referred to her kids as precious babies. And they were like 9 and 11. It made me think she wrote that email. And I don't know that. I can't say that. But it made me think it. Just in tonight, distraction 5 million, F-18 and B-52 bomber missing in the last 24 hours. Christ is king. From Baltimore. I didn't know an F-18 was missing. I saw the B-52 crash. That was tragic. Was it a B-52? I thought it was a Stratotanker, actually. Are there other planes missing other than the Stratotanker that crashed? Explosives plot related to Tennessee plant explosion? I don't know. Thanks for the hard work you put in day after day. I rarely catch the show live, but I listen to every show on Spotify at the Real Baron Podcast. Can I get a whoop, whoop, clap, clap? That's as close as you're going to get. I'll clap for you. I shan't whoop. Do you think possibly they are threatening Erica and her executives at TPUSA and their families? Surely, you are one of the best on YouTube. But don't call me Shirley. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, it's possible they're being threatened. I mean, I think anybody that gets involved in some kind of massive plot like that, there's a threat associated with it. I think that's why none of the astronauts have come out and said they didn't walk on the moon. I recall Ben Shapiro saying he was a ghostwriter for many politicians. It would be the ultimate betrayal if he finished Charlie's book. I wonder. Maybe. Charlie stated Erica was out of his league, so out of his league, I'm sure he thought questioning anything about her would be insane. His first time with Miss America, Miss Arizona USA, but we'll allow it. What guy would ask questions so sad she wasn't just nuts, but dangerous? Have you guys followed the story of the other Miss? I can't remember. I'm trying to think of what state. Miss Maryland, maybe, or something. USA. One of those Miss USA girls. And this guy's, maybe it was Oklahoma. This guy's running for Congress somewhere. And his primary's tomorrow. And then all these text messages came out of this gal, like, leading them on or whatever. I don't remember the exact story. Something like that. But I couldn't help but think of it. Is there something about this Miss USA organization? Because she looked like she was honeypotting them. Please don't stop searching for the answers. You all are a great team, honest and just. I'm so sorry for your loss. I shall continue to pray for you all. God bless you. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. I appreciate that, Sarah. You think when Trump called Charlie Kirk about the files, that he told Charlie Kirk that Erica Kirk was in those files, then that's when he started uncovering Erica's background? I've considered it. I don't know that I have evidence of that. He said something to him that got him off the trail. I don't know what it was. He said something that got Charlie Kirk off the files trail. Excellent show. Had me covered in goosies. Christ is king indeed. Well, I'm glad I could help. I like goosebumps. I like the feeling you get when you get them. It's a good feeling. Hello, sir. You are elite. Not the bad elites. Not like the elites, like the 1%. I'm still one of the 99%, right? Okay. You mean elite, like excel in my profession. Thank you. I will allow that. The only thing that makes EK's history actions make sense is that she's CIA and she Truman showed Charlie Kirk. I can't stop thinking about how long his friends lied to his face knowing they were betraying him. It's diabolical. Diabolical. I live in the town Candace talked about today. I never even knew that company like that existed here. So I started looking into it and found some very interesting things. I have questions. More tips at CandaceOwens.com. Steer clear from Butler. Family needs you. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, I think I'm going to turn it over to her. I think she'll do a good job with it. I told her that. Mr. Coleman found you in January when you were on the Principal Show. Been listening to all your shows since. I told my mom the only news I need or trust is Baron, Candace, Meghan, and Tucker. The rest lie. God bless. Christ is king. Indeed. You would be pretty educated if you listened to those four. One of the early episodes after Charlie Kirk was killed, I remember Blake Neff on the show saying in awe about EK. What a woman. It was an awkward moment. I'm glad I didn't see that. That's disgusting. That's gross. Sometimes the truths, like Charlie Kirk and Butler, persist until you set the record straight. Thank you for shining light on these mysteries. Christ is king. Indeed, blessings. Thank you, Gary. Gary's a good commenter. Today has been explosive. The missing link. I thought it was important. I'll say that. I thought it was important. Exploding pagers detonated remotely via phone. Who used their phone to call and set off necklace? Everyone around Charlie Kirk was on eyes at their looking at their phones, plus the secured connections from the Egyptian plane. Sad. Please say hi to my son, Jace. Christ is king indeed. Jace, good evening. Evening. Wish I had a hat. I'd tip it to you. I tried sending a super chat regarding the 3, and this is the first time you two wouldn't allow me to send the chat. The 3 what? I don't know what the 3 means. The Holy Trinity? I don't know. So what you're saying is the number 2 to 3. Oh, the 3 gunmen is the numbers 2 to 3 need to go back to a pew pew school. I feel you on the fear baron. It is creepy and real. Experiencing the same. Well, if you're firing subsonic rounds, suppressed subsonic rounds, they're not very accurate. They drop a long way. You have to be pretty close or else just guess. And they're very susceptible to wind and breeze and pressure and humidity. I mean, it's just a slow flying round. It's like shooting a paper airplane at somebody. The farther you are, the harder it is to hit. Blakey is one of the 4% of the naysayers in the poll, allegedly. Oh, we have 4% naysaying? Blake. Amazing pod, as usual. Sorry about the loss of your friend. His wife is an amazing woman with a true faith in Christ. I will definitely be donating to their fund. Christ is king indeed. I appreciate that. I am going to find a way. I think we will get permission to post their GoFundMe that everybody's already donating to. And it does a good job of explaining it. It has nothing to do with your humble host. Someone else set it up. The money's being deposited, I think, daily or every other day or something to her. So it's, takes me out of the loop, so to speak. But the money goes to a good place and she gets 100% of it, like all of it. Wonder where the planes were. Always a good question. Always a good question. Did you ever look into Maxwell Urich and how he looks more like the dead shooter at Butler and how nobody can find him now? Another crazy rabbit hole. Without disclosing too much, I wouldn't put much stock into that. I wouldn't waste time running down that rabbit hole. It's a good thought. I spent a lot of time running down that rabbit hole. I think we will figure it out, but may never get them to admit the truth. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Baron. Sorry for your loss. At this point, Stevie Wonder would do a better job collecting crime scene evidence. Stevie can see. I may do an opening on that. How many people say that Stevie Wonder can see? Like everyone who knows him. NUMEC incident happened close by back in 1965. What that means. Nuclear Materials and Equipment Corporation? Oh, is that the Apollo affair? Is that the one where Ben Shapiro's uncle or grandfather, somebody stole nuclear material and gave it to the Israelis? That's the rumor. I don't know if that's true. That's the rumor. You ever wonder why a guy that has no talent like Ben Shapiro is so pushed in our face at all times? Ever wonder what Bongina really meant when he said what he learned shocked me down to my core, and that he would never be the same in May of 25. Love your show. Thank you. Christ is King as always. Indeed. Yes, I have wondered that. And I think his total over-the-top response in this weird, like, macho guy persona is so fake. It's so hard to accept. In your research of accurate energetic systems contracts, did you happen to notice anything aligned with the Lebanon electronic device attacks? No, but I think some of those pagers have been in circulation for years. John Cullen hadn't been heard from since October 25. Well, that's not true. He's been back on Patreon here and there. He's kind of back. He hasn't been back on Twitter, but he's back in circulation. Longtime fan, appreciate you and all you do. Pray for your safety often. Number one fan in Kona. Please tell me that makes me the first jury member to claim Hawaii. Christ is King indeed. I don't know if we've had another Hawaii, but Kona, I used to work at a coffee shop. We would get 100% Kona in. That's good coffee. I like it better than the Blue Mountain coffee. That's good coffee. I don't know what it is about the soil or the air or the weather. It's good coffee. The Kona blend is okay. It mellows it out a little bit. I mean, it's good, but it's, man, that pure Kona is expensive. Even $100 a pound, but it's good. Baron, you say you saw like an Indiana boy? Saul. Oh, you say Saul like an Indiana boy. Yeah, probably. Saul, LOL, author of Worlds and Collisions. Oh, that was Emmanuel Velikovsky. Shout out to my hubs, Colin, who gifted me a member for Mother's Day. Oh, man, Colin sounds like a champ. What a man. A man's man. Wonder if Charlie Kirk questioning what happened in PA and put together the pieces that he thought our greatest ally was behind it, and that made him start to question everything, and that's when they decided to eliminate him. I don't know. Listening to Trigger Smart covering the trial when I heard a defense attorney reference Coleman versus State of Alabama. Your thoughts, sir? Well, I don't know about that case. What is that case? I've never been involved in a case against the state of Alabama. A landmark U.S. Supreme Court decision ruling that a preliminary hearing is a critical stage. Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with that. That just means you just... So at critical stages, you have rights that attach. Like right to a lawyer. So you can't be forced to go to a preliminary hearing, provided that you'll be in jeopardy. I think the rule is that your liberty's in jeopardy for a year or more. I think that's the kind of the cutoff. But you have a right to an attorney at a critical stage. I didn't know that was the name of the trial, that case. This made me sob. It's heavy stuff. I believe TC is dead. I don't believe TC is dead. Who's TC? He can easily lay on top of that building and play dead until they get him down and he's in another country. Oh, Thomas Matthew Crooks. Oh, he's dead as a wedge. I claim your number one fan from Rockaway Beach, Queens, New York. I support you and Candace. I am concerned but confident because Jesus is the divine savior. We know the end of the story. Christ is King indeed. Let me say this about Thomas Matthew Crooks. Thank you. Let me say this about Thomas Matthew Crooks. Somebody died on that roof. I don't know who. I think it was him. But if it was someone else, it's Saturday. We buried my cousin, who was my best friend since birth. pulmonary embolism and was gone before she hit the floor. Like your friend, she made everyone a better person for knowing her. I'm sad for your loss, but in terms of ways to go, not terrible. I put a lot of thought into this week, or since this weekend. There's something to be said about being able to prepare for death and get your affairs in order and say your goodbyes, and but the end is final anyway. A PE where you just fall out of the sky. I mean, you're walking around and boom, Jesus. You know, not Jesus as an exclamatory phrase, but like the face of the Lord. Like there are worse ways to go. There are worse ways to go. But I'm sorry for your loss. It does not help those left behind after a tragedy like that. With Fort Campbell being close to AES, have flights out of Campbell been checked during the time Hibbs may have picked up a device? You can fly out from there and back to Utah seemingly undetected. Fort Campbell's what, an hour from Nashville? There are a lot of other airports near there. I mean, Gallatin has a private airport. You could fly out of B&A. You could fly out of Smyrna. You can fly out of Mount Pleasant. I mean, there are a lot of airports in the Nashville area. I haven't checked it. Hi, babe. I'm very sorry for your loss. Prayers for you all. I'm watching your discussion with Charlie and it's bringing tears to my eyes. He didn't deserve this. Kiss that grandbaby for me tonight. Christ is king indeed. I don't know if she's still here or not. Let me look. She was here earlier. And then I've been on the air. Oop, no, wrong person. That's a good call. Not present. Maybe I'll sneak up there and kiss her anyway. Thank you. Thank you for that. Holy mackerel, this whole investigation just got a lot scarier. Stay safe, Baron. We need you. God bless you and your family. Thank you. I'll do my best. This was a shooting. There was a shooting in Midland, Texas last Wednesday. I know nothing about it. I just remember my stepmom talking about it while I cut my daddy's hair. They watched the news. I don't know if that's unusual in Midland. I mean, in a lot of cities, shooting is, that's like saying the sun rose. I don't know about Midland. Midland sounds kind of safe. Captain Barron, reporting for duty. 39-year-old man and business owner here in Bloomfield, Connecticut. I appreciate everything you do. I've learned so much. Lawmakers are stealing homeschool rights in front of the families who spent weeks protesting. This can't continue. You are an inspiration. God bless. Kyle, it's just who you are. God bless you as well. I hope you win. But Connecticut's wild, man. That's a crazy place to live. I mean, people didn't really think about the Republican-Democrat divide at the local level until the C word, COVID. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh, I don't want to live in California. I don't live in Michigan. I don't want to live in Massachusetts. Like all of a sudden people are like, oh, who we elect governor matters? Greetings, Blake. Glad you could join us. Grab a snack. Maybe Korean food, given your deep respect for Asian heritage. You're going to get some of that spicy rotted cabbage, Blake? What do they call that stuff? I'm going to look up Korean spicy rotted cabbage. What's it called? Kimchi. What's that sweet beef they have? Korean beef dish. Beef bulgogi. Pull up some bulgogi and some kimchi, Blakey. I'm going to have some delivered to the show tomorrow. What time they go on at 9 local? Okay, so I'll have it delivered when they get off the air. I'm going to find a Korean. They got to have a Korean restaurant in Scottsdale or Phoenix, wherever they are. I'm going to have the best Korean restaurant in town. Make up a big old like tray, like 20 servings of bulgogi. You just smother it in that stinky half rotted cabbage and just deliver it. Charlie Kirk Show. Korean food coming your way. For all the mega shrews. Blake's at his favorite Asian restaurant watching your show. I bet. Tends to love them. Thank you, Baron. You're my favorite. I hate to say it, but you and Candace are the only two I never tire of. Why would you hate to say that? Sounds amazing. I'd be curious to know if the Egyptian planes were going to Pennsylvania or nearby around the time of Butler. I don't think so. But I don't know. 100% agree on headband on Candace. So adorable. I just call it like I see it, Candace. You don't come at me. Don't come at me. George? Just paying a compliment. Surprised Corey's wife hasn't said something. No, I'm not. I'm not at all. The denim was obviously battle blazer. Yeah. I wonder if she had that pattern blazer on, that wool pattern blazer, and she's like, this isn't mean enough. Give me my mean blazer. I want the jeans. Hey, Granddad, number one from Coppell, Texas. My condolences, praying for your friend, his family, and yours as well. God bless. Christ is king indeed. Go Max. Thank you. Thank you. If CNN never covered DT's rallies but showed up at a small town like Butler to cover live, does that suggest they had foreknowledge? Maybe, but my thought on that is there was a possibility he was going to announce at that rally who his vice presidential pick was, and they would have wanted to be there to cover it. That rumor was out there. Coming in late, Stu Peters. Blake worked for Stu Peters. Stu hates EK, TPUSA, and our greatest ally. What in the world? Congrats on your grandbaby, and condolences to your friend. I don't know that he hates all those people, again, because I don't follow him closely. But I will say I looked through some of his recent stuff, and it didn't seem too terribly bad. That's why I was kind of shocked when I looked at Wikipedia, and they were like, "Yeah, he says all this stuff." I scrolled his X feed for a little while. It didn't seem too crazy, but maybe that's just commentary on where I am in life. A little too coincidental that Blake Neff scored jobs with three of the most influential males in media, each at their height at the time. Infiltration. Oh, no. Oh, no. I didn't even consider that, and I'm devastated, Slim. That's something I would think. I got to get a new tinfoil hat. This one is letting me down. I've got to get a new one. Maybe it was the type of tin or something. Maybe it was an alloy. Maybe some raw tin. That is something I would think. And I'm so devastated I didn't think that. But you were right. Stu was, that was like peak Stu. That was certainly peak Tucker at the time. And that was peak Charlie. That was when he was the number one podcast in the world. What does this mean? Surely Blake's not the mastermind. He's a rube. How are airplane brakes tested midair? I don't know. I was taking them at their word. I was at the mercy of the pilot. What am I going to do? Get out there and like Fred Flintstone it? Throw my feet on a big blister? I don't know that it'd be more than blisters. I think it might tear my feet off. Sometimes you just got to have faith, brother, sister. I'm sorry for your loss, bearing my heart and prayers go out to his family and to all those who've been touched by his life and the loss. The only comfort we have is knowing that he's at peace now and no longer suffering. Christ is king and lots of love. Thank you. Hey, going back to this one for a second. And then I get on my second flight, my return flight, and it's delayed. I get there early. I'm not one of those people who like brags about how close I can cut it. I get there early. And then I get a notice on my phone that the flight's delayed. Text Mrs. Coleman, hey, don't come so early to the airport. Flight's delayed. I'll let you know when I know more. Then they delay it again. Annoying. I wanted to do a show last night, but I also wanted to see my family, get a bite to eat, maybe rest before I went on the air. And then I was going to be cutting it closer. It was going to go from having like a 5-hour break to like a 2-hour break. And so that was a little annoying. Hold on, that's an override sound. Who's that? Oh. And so I get on the plane finally. They let us board. And they say, oh, by the way, this is a backup plane. Our original plane was broken. Oh, great. Back to the text. Guys, investigate if this plane falls out of the sky. Something's going on here. Thankfully, the airline took care of it. Thank you. Crowd response could be different, but adult and school crowd. School pews are normally multiple pews. People in stands were probably checking for wounds if they felt shirts moving. Rosary for your friend. Christ is king. Indeed. Thank you. Appreciate it. And you might be onto something. I ran into someone in the wild today that used bull butter. Oh, I squealed. You watch Baron Coleman. He unfortunately had no idea who you were. Oh, he lied to your face. Or he had Coach Pauly for physical science in 9th grade. Because that's the only man I've ever heard use that expression. R.I.P. Coach. I'm sorry about your friend. I prayed for him and his family last night. The Butler thing is wild. I do believe everything is fake and gay. I agree, and thank you for your prayers. To live in such a way that people speak of me gone the way you spoke of your late friend, that is the goal. Continue prayer for all. Christ is king indeed. A mutual friend, a former neighbor of his, a guy who lived a couple houses down from him. I spoke to him this morning. Hadn't had a chance to talk to him since he's out of town. I hadn't had a chance to talk to him since our buddy passed. Or since I'd gone out to Arizona. And he said the same thing I said. That the best mark of him, and he even said, and where I fall short, he was talking about himself. Yo, not two. But I'll say the same thing. The mark of my friend, I'm getting teary thinking about this, that I fall short on is I don't think anyone had ever heard him say anything bad about anybody. Like never a negative word about somebody. Now, granted, he didn't cover suspicious murders for a living. He didn't cover suspicious murders. He doctored. That's different. Candace, episode 282 at 1310, how people train for PSYOPs at Fort Huachuca. EK there for movie and FBI doc. EK's changing opinions on our greatest ally could be taught at Fort Huachuca. Fake relationships with Cabot, like Candace's gym story. Couple scenes, September 8th. Christ is king indeed. A lot to digest there. Yeah. So you're saying she could be an op? I agree. Oh, thank you. Christ is king indeed. Speaking of rings, Charlie Kirk at the morning interview on 910 had his ring, but it was not his wedding ring. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he wore 2 or 3 different wedding rings. He's fancy. Baron, if you play guitar, what kind of axe wood do you have? Blake Back Mountain, comment of the day. That wasn't me. Somebody said that in the comment. I just saw it and laughed. I wouldn't say I play. I mean, I have a guitar and I hack around on it and I have fun and I sing songs, but I'm not very good. It's a Fender. But yeah, no, I just have a good time. I work nights, so I'm not Slash. I work nights, so in and out. So I must have missed the update on your friend earlier. Praying for all. So sorry. Thank you, Trisha. Thank you. Yeah. And thankful for work. Thank you for working nights. I mean, overnight shift is tough. Lost dad June 30, 2017 from ALS. Husband's July 24, 2017 from cancer. I was 8 weeks pregnant. Watching my daughter struggle with not having her dad has been the hardest of all. Thank you for shining light on the real pain of grief. Christ is king indeed. Oh, gosh, that's a back-to-back whammy right there. You know what that reminds me of? Amygdala Matters. Teddy Roosevelt, who's half of his pictures right here. You guys can't see the other half, but I can. Teddy kept a diary, a religious diary, wrote down everything he wrote, everything he ate, everything he did. He lost his mother and his wife on the same day. And in his diary entry that day, I've seen a picture of it. It just says, a light has gone out in my life. And then he put an X at the. He said, the light has gone out. There it is right there. The light has gone out of my life. This is a relentless diary. Or February, Thursday, 1884. The light has gone out of my life. You can see the pain in that X. That's what your comment reminded me. I'm sorry you dealt with that. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for everything you do, Kimberly Alexander. My B. Butler's wild. Don't worry, you'll be safe. They're already getting hit with the Streisand effect. Regarding Erica, you think she was telling the truth back in July and now she's just scared? No. I wish that was the case. I used to think that was the case. But the weird attacking and all that, no, I don't believe that. I believe she was egging him on darkly. What about the golden beeper gift from the Beebster to the Trumpster? Praying for your dear friend, his wife, and children. Rest in peace. Prayers for you and all who loved him. What a gift to have a friend like him. Christ is king indeed. The golden beeper gift. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, Candace talked about it today. I have nothing to add that she didn't say. Weird. So sorry for your loss, Baron. I lost my dad in last August to cancer. My mom 10 months before, on 9/10, oddly. Thank you and the jury for distracting me. Couldn't have done it without you guys. Laura, thank you. That's high praise. This is a great community. This is a really great community. Hate to pick on Besneff, but if he spent as much time looking into Charlie Kirk as he did trolling minorities, this case would be solved. Also, Charles XII, you have more of a Henry VIII build, bud. Are you talking about him being portly? That's not nice. That's not nice. He's been to the gym. He's been at the gym lately. Blake, if you're watching, that workout I did today was phenomenal. You should do it. It'll help you more than whatever it is you're doing, because not that what you're doing is not working, but Matthew 5:4, blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Thank you. Beautiful. From the Sermon on the Mount. I used to think it was Sermon on the Mound, like a mound visit in baseball. No. Kind of behind when I was on vacation last week, so if you already know this, disregard, but the latest DK interview with the pastor, did you know she confirmed the Charlie Kirk video was real? Couldn't believe people thought it was AI. That means nothing to me. Nothing she says means anything to me. Love Patrick Lencioni. We anchor all our talent development at work to his 5 Dysfunctions of a Teen book. Oh, man, that's a great book. Sorry for your loss. Praying for your friends and family. Would love to support them. Christ is king indeed. If you run an organization, this is not paid. I'm not saying this on his behalf. This is me. If you run an organization, you could do worse than reading a few Pat Lencioni books. 5 Dysfunctions is phenomenal. Ideal Team Player, Working Genius. I mean, those are probably the 3 that off the top of my head, I would say go read those if you're only going to read 3. But man, they're good. Man, they're good. He just knows humanity. He knows humanity. Highly recommend Grief Share to your friend or anyone who needs a faith-based support group when dealing with grief. It helped me when my mom passed. Oh, there's a group called Grief Share. I've not heard of it. You've got a high recommendation there from a member of the jury. Oh dear, I made Baron gasp at my 3:30 a.m. here in the Netherlands. Keep up the good work. Oh, were you the one that made me gasp? 3:30 a.m. That's early. That's early. The 3% is Erica, Blake, and Andrew and Joe. That's not enough. I found Wickles at my local Meijer in Lima, Ohio. I bought the Dirty Dill flavor. And holy mackerel, I wasn't expecting that kick. Thanks for all the laughs. Christ is king indeed. I told you they were good. I warned you. You'll be back. Erica and Blakey are the perfect couple of chameleons. Seems like they will pretend to believe in anything that will get them money or position. They could do bridal picks in the curtains. Blarica. Is he her type? I'm sure she's his type, but is he her type? CK was becoming inquisitive about Butler. Maybe this is why the Beebster declared innocence, because he was. JFK's killer involved? I don't know. Stu Peters not a fan of TPUSA and EK. Likely that he and Neffy are not friendly now. They're not, because when I was researching it, I found several bombs Stu has thrown at Blake here in the not too distant past. Hi, Granddad. So Blake Neff is basically the Gary the Impractical before we knew Gary existed. Okay, got it. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit, from the psalmists. Pray to you and your friends and you and your friends' family. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. I appreciate that. Chat, what is the COVID protocol? Asking for peppers. The COVID protocol was where they sent you home until your oxygen was so low that then they plowed you with high flow oxygen, gave you remdesivir, and starved you of anything that might actually work and killed you. That's my understanding. It could be allegedly my opinion. It could be off there a little bit, but pretty close. Whereas remdesivir, being a antiretroviral, would make no sense to give it to somebody 12 days after they, or even 8 days after they were first infected, because probably don't have any circulating virus. What you have at that point is inflammation from viral debris. You need stuff that can bring the inflammation down. I could give a personal story. I'm not going to. Baron, hi from Marasha and Michelle, Naples, Florida. Love your show. Sorry about your friend. Christ is King indeed. All the way from Naples, Florida. That's a nice area. I spent several days in Naples, Florida. 5 years ago, maybe. I was there for work. I was there doing a work trip. It was awesome. Beautiful town. Incels are, food is expensive in Naples. I'll say that. I got a pizza. It was like $40. I was like, what is this? Incels are obsessed with Candace, especially Blake and Nick F. They must have seen her in the headband. Patriot Takes posted a video on X of Charlie saying he sends all his threats to Patel via text. You don't say. I saw that. And he said on it. And I'm like, he wasn't on it. WD, Wonder and Discernment. Yes, working genius. That's exactly me. Of course. God bless you and yours and your friends, family, and friends. Oh, your friends, family, and friends. Christ is King for sure. So not only am I WD, my E and I are so low that you wonder, they're just off the charts low. And my T is low, not testosterone, tenacity on the working genius thing. And if you knew me in real life, you would say, yep. Neither Mrs. Coleman nor I have any I. That's why we don't do anything. Like, we don't go on vacation because neither one of us wants to plan it. We can't invent things to do. We have no inventiveness in this family. I need to send an anti-Candacism cup to Ben Shapiro. Where do I find his address? Well, that's called doxing. We don't do that around here. To quote Dave Ramsey, if EK really did call Kanye and turn him against CO and CK, then Tucker comments are a lot more interesting. Pull that Kanye thread. I have tried to pull the thread. I've contacted many people that were involved with Kanye back then. Well, many, 3. Then tried to find out who it was. Baron, praying for you and wish you a quiet moment to pause and listen to the song. I can only imagine. I've listened to that song 1,000 times. It's a comfort to us every time we think of our loved ones in the presence of the King. I've listened to that song many, many times. Beautiful song. No issue whatsoever with it. Meemaw Judy's disorder. LBD, Lewy body dementia. And LV33 is me being dramatic. Maybe. Christ is King. Heavy but eye-opening episode tonight. My B, prayers, protection. Thank you. Are you talking about like a 33rd degree? Is that what the LV33 means? Remember the weird hat guy behind Trump at Butler? No. I don't. Thoughts on Ken Silva's new book, reporting on the Butler shooting. I've learned some things tonight that Silva didn't mention in his interviews on Tucker and Provoked. I haven't read the book. I did see the interview he did with Tucker, but I don't remember it. I did not see the Provoked interview. Provoked's a good podcast, though. I've enjoyed that. If necklace boomed, how would you control trajectory? Well, did they? Doesn't look like they did. It hit him in the neck. It screwed the whole thing up. Hit him in the chest. We wouldn't be here. I'm sorry for your loss. 11 years. And sent DM Discord. If you sent something to Discord, I will never see it. I've been in one Discord in my life, or one Discord meeting in my life. It was 9 months ago, 8 months ago. I used to jump on the Discord that this show had, but like 3 times, 4 times, and just kind of spy what people were doing. I don't even do that anymore. So there's no way I saw that. CK and EK home sold into a trust under kids' initials. I don't know that that's accurate. Praying for you and your friend and all who love him. Thanks for all you do. You're going Max. Don't you ever forget. Jesus loves you too. Jesus loves you too. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. Thank you. Don't forget to check the poll. Oh, I'll do that now. How much time do we have? Sufficient. Let's see. What's my name? There we go. I had to find my own channel. All right. Poll. Where's the poll? There it is. End poll. So what do we end up with? 96-4. 11,000 votes. Which means 400 plus people said he's not watching. Maybe he's not. I have 3 babies, 52, 49, and 41. My baby boy, my baby girl, and my kitten. They will always be my babies. Prayers for you and your friend. Christ is king indeed. Grams, that was good input. Thank you. I see you took advantage of Fuji being on sale at Costco. I did not. This is from, not sure where we got this. I'll have to ask Mrs. Coleman. But this is, I've got a stash back there. Room temperature Fuji. But we will take advantage of it. Always looking for a deal. Always looking for a deal. Charlie fired founding member Crystal Clayton based on racist messages, but then reached out to Tucker Carlson about hiring Blake Neff, who was fired for racist messages. Who is Blake connected to? You guys are blowing my mind tonight. You guys are blowing my mind. Surely that, is he like the Kaiser Soze of conservative media? Like he's limping around like he's disabled or whatever, and then all of a sudden he starts walking right, and then the guy looks at the board and he's like, it was Sneff the whole time. I should have known when he did this. Blowing my mind, guys. I think Erica was crying because of guilt when she read the faking gay email that Blakey wrote. Candace is right. They really are morons. Really worried about Candace. Sorry for loss. Christ is king indeed. That reminds me of Blazing Saddles when he's talking about the people and talking to the sheriff. He's like, they're morons. Everybody died laughing. Hadn't seen it in a while. It's a good show. Wow. Watch many Stu Peters shows. His content is the polar opposite of what TPUSA has been pushing. Blake Neff is such a fake. By the way, Stu Peters' show with Mitch were great. I did see some of those. Fiji. Oh, Fiji water, not Fuji water. Sorry, guys. Fiji. This is not a product placement. I'm not telling you to buy it. Just tried it and liked it. Turning Point controlled the event, scheduling, setup, security, communications, video. Why are they not being questioned on who, where, and how decisions were made? Motive, means, opportunity. Great questions all. I started an hour and a half behind, but I've been watching you at 3x speed, and now I'm only 5 minutes behind. You're remarkable if you can listen to 3x. Coach listens at 3x to podcast. How do you do that? Blake Neff loves BTS and all K-pop. I doubt it. Candace's bandana is reminiscent of Rosie the Riveter. Definitely an apropos look. Yeah, kind of has a Rosie look. If Candace does this, we'll know. We'll know. Parscale resides in Midland, Texas. Does he really? I was just asking somebody the other day, what the hell's going on in Midland, Texas? There's flights in there all the time that we've been tracking. Does he really? That can't be. I thought he was in Florida. Didn't he get arrested at his house in Florida or something? Hold on, I have to send this to somebody. Really? How did I not know that? That can't be right. Okay. The Parscale thing just blew my mind. That just blew my mind. I mean, like, it didn't say he lives in Midland, Texas. The search I just did said he has a significant presence in Midland, Texas, due to his connections to Texas oil man Tim Dunn. Prayers for your friends and family. I got to get a new tinfoil hat t-shirt, please. Christ is King. That's actually a good one. That would be an excellent t-shirt. Patsy? Casey? That would be a good one. Prayer for y'all in the Chapel of the Sacred Heart in Grand Teton Park today. Bet I'm your number one fan in tiny little Norris, Tennessee. Population 1,500. Christ is King indeed. Where is Norris? Is that near me? So tiny, I've never heard of it. Oh, no. That's not near me at all. That's north of Knoxville. I believe you. And thank you for your prayers. If Charlie only had 3 days off a year, how did Saturday, Shabbat Shalom, Daddy's home happen? Good question. My 10-year-old is wicked into soccer. Are you from New Hampshire? He wicked into soccer. We're watching FIFA. We're watching vids of others' experience in America first. Time is amazing stuff. Great show tonight. Love ya. I agree with you that one of the great joys of the last week has been, and I mean this with all my heart, it reminds you how great of a country we really live in. And for you non-Americans watching, your countries are probably also stellar. But the following these guys on social media who are coming to America for the first time to watch their team play in the World Cup, and they're taking in baseball games and going to gas stations and going to restaurants, and like they're trying things like Chipotle. And they're like, what is this? This is amazing. I'm like, I take it for granted. Partly because I don't want to pay $22 for a burrito, but they love it. They love it. Hearing Charlie talk about Butler, which ended up to be his actual assassination, that tore me up. That was tough to watch. I'm really convinced they thought Tyler would have the same fate as Thomas and the case would be closed. Yes, correct. Erica's speech seemed to suggest as much happened or would have happened. It seems like TR caught wind of his patsy status. Candace broke my brain today, so sorry for your loss. I do believe that happened. Tyler Robinson was supposed to be removed also prior to turning himself in. He figured out, wait a minute, this isn't going well. I'm not going to survive this. And he turned himself in early. I think that's what happened. Could be wrong, but I think that's what happened. Helios Flight 522 crashed in Greece, 2005. Cypriot plane owned by General Electric. I wonder if illicit drugs transported via commercial back then. Poppies. I have no idea what you're talking about. Larry Loomer is jumping on the FBI X clown race. Headland, Alabama in the chat. Headland, Alabama. I've been there. First super chat ever. You're the best. Baron. I've been to Headland, Alabama. And my freshman year at Auburn, I went to I've got a cool Headland story too. Headland's the county seat of something, right? Is it the county seat? Yeah, okay. A cool story. I went, I'll tell this story first. My freshman year at Auburn, I went to an LSU football game on the road. I went with a friend of mine named Dudley. He was great. But I went with two people I'd never met before. And one of them was from Headland, and he was telling me all about it. And I was in awe because I was not from Alabama. I'd never lived in Alabama. I'd been there like a week. And the stories he was telling me were blowing my mind. Second story about Headland, Alabama. There was a guy I used to interview on the radio a lot. His name's Steve Flowers, one of the great storytellers in Alabama history. Great voice, super country guy, and has that perfect Southern genteel twang. Anyway, he's telling a story that on 9/11, he's in Headland, Alabama. And he's in Henry County, Alabama. Headland, Alabama. And there's this guy he knew, and he's on the courthouse square, and the guy's not super smart or whatever, but he's all torn up. And my buddy was like, hey, what's going on? He's like, man, at 9/11, they don't even call it 9/11. He's like, terrorist attacks. They're coming here next. And my buddy's like, coming where? He's like, Headland. He's like, man, they went to New York. They went to Washington, D.C. We're probably all right here in Headland. He's like, no, they're going to come here next. And I'm just torn up. He said, well, why would they come here? And the guy looked up. He said, Steve, it's the county seat of Henry County. It's one of those people who just never left Headland, and that's all he ever knew. And it's the county seat of Henry County, Alabama, just north of Dothan. Why wouldn't they be there? I thought that was funny. Good story from Headland, Alabama. My B, thank you for all you do. Prayers for your friend, his family, and yours. Cancer NP here. Tucker Carlson with MN talked about Mario Narfall talked about advice to youth to brood on death. Makes every day real, tangible blessing. That's great advice. I fell asleep listening to that last night. So that part obviously played after I fell asleep. I went back and listened today because I turned it on. I laid down. I thought I'll just listen to it. I'll turn it off when I get tired. I went back and listened today to figure out the last thing I remember them saying. It was 12 minutes. I made it 12 minutes into it. And I woke up like 2 a.m. and like some other podcast is playing. Earbuds out, back to sleep. So I fell asleep to Tucker and Mario last night. I was trying to get through it. Right? When I hear Dr. Vid, I think, what, like EK? Yes, Dr. EK. Dr. Cook. We should sign a petition for the Charlie Kirk Show's name to be changed to anything but his name. Maybe it will help the view count. They're not going to do that. They're shameless. Baron, please hint and let us know what airline you fly so we can all avoid it. I'm not going to do that. I don't want them to think I'm talking bad about them because they've been fine in the past. But I will admit, it has a connection to the Charlie Kirk investigation, and I sent a text to both Daisy and Candace to let them know about the story and what airline I was on, and they both found it funny. They both thought it was funny. I can't help it. Blake's alias was Charles. Erica said Charles. That's right, but Blake's still alive. So Kai Trump's YouTube channel has been showing up in my feed lately. I came across a Hamptons vlog with her dad, DJ T Jr., from August 2025. This is when the notorious Hamptons retreat was, right? Yeah. August 4th and 5th? 4th, 5th, 6th, somewhere in there. Good call. My B. Saw the man on the street video Stu did on the fridge magnets and wondered. The very next day, I saw it in person, also with no chance anyone could have faked it. Thanks for the high IQ outfit. My mother did not fake it. I was in the room. We even put like alcohol or something on her arm to make sure it wasn't just sticking, No, it's magnetized. Her whole arm. I mean, not her whole arm. You bring it down here where she didn't get jabbed, and it falls right off. Up here, falls off. Sticks right where the shot was. Prayers for you and your fam and the family of your blessed friend. Awesome show, as always. I'm one fan from Carrollton, Kentucky, that little city across the river from Hanover and Madison, Indiana. Thanks for being you. Love you. Love you more in Hanover. You dismissed my message offhand, but ivermectin has an 85% cure rate. I don't want to be the one to point it out, but he was dead when you sent that message. I did not know that at the time, but I was dismissing it because that was not the time. The time would have been 4. And I will say he tried it. He tried the ivermectin, Fenbin, combo. I don't want to get too much into his medical history. It's probably inappropriate. I've even said that. But it was, at that point, it was too late. Like, he died while I was on the air. Like, I didn't dismiss it. I was being respectful to his family, if they ever saw that. Exodus 21, 5-6, read in reference to Trump's ear being shot. Possible symbolism? I've read it. I don't think so. Arizona TPA is TP Action, I'm guessing, is hiring precinct committee man as ballot chasers, paying them to do jobs that PCs volunteer, causing divide in the REP party grassroots as a rabid pro-TPUSA faction. Blake Neff will be a PC 2026. I was unaware of this scandal. Happy 11 years clean, Moon Goddess. You missed it, B. Did I miss it? She told me that the other day that she was coming up on 11 years. I congratulated her. It might have been yesterday. I don't think I missed it. I didn't mean to miss it. I take lion's mane and everything just seems clearer. 3x speed feels like 1.25x does without it. Also went on my 57th separate date here in Minnesota, not moving forward as we have quite differing expectations. Leave some women for the rest of us. 57 dates? I don't know whether to congratulate you but well done. Well done. I can't take lion's mane. I've tried several, like 2 or 3 different times I've tried. I can't even take anything with it in it. Makes my asthma go crazy. Pascal resides in Texas per a Salem media announcement, January 2025. If it's Midland, man, I've got questions. Can I get a congrats for my sis from you and the jury? She had her 3rd baby girl over the weekend. At home, all natural, 8 pounds, 4 ounces, 21 inches long. Oh, that's impressive, Lexi Page. And congrats to your sis and the beautiful bundle of joy. I know you're excited. Aaron, first ever super chat, been here since September. Check out John Mappin's tweet from 316, matches Candace Owens' recent memories. June 17 pairs with Candace Owens' timeline. Christ is king. I wish you would have told me what it was he was alleged to have said. I don't know that I can find it scrolling back that quickly. He's a prolific Xer, tweeter. Let me see. I'll do a quick look and see. There's John Mappin there. Let me give it a few scrolls. I mean, we're in June. I don't know if I can get back to March 16th. I'm going to scroll for about 10 seconds tops and see how far I get. Nope, I'm still in June. I told you he's a prolific tweeter. I'll have to look later. Thank you. Wicked, close, but not New Hampshire. Your number one fan from Revere, Massachusetts. It's the same state. It's just the semi-Republican part of Massachusetts. But wrong. Even if the DIA is able to prove conspiracy, will anyone pay for CK's removal? Will anyone ever pay for CK's removal? I suspect not. Christ is king, number one East Tennessee fan. Indeed, sir. Indeed. Ma'am. Excuse me, Heather Jackson. You're talking about the decentralized intelligence agency? I don't know. We hope so. Did you see Jesse's show on the Illuminati card game? I did. I watched it in my hotel room Saturday night when I was supposed to be going to bed. I was packing. Not packing heat, but packing my bag to come back on Sunday. I had to leave very early Sunday morning. I was packing the bag to come back, and I was scrolling like my subscription feed, and I saw Jesse's video, and I was like, I'll watch. And I bit, and it was excellent. It was excellent. I like how he made himself small, like he was a card, and he moved himself around. That's high quality. Thank you, Captain Hot Pants. Wait, so Neff is Verbal Kent via a.k.a. Kaiser Soze. Parallel universe for sure. And thoughts and prayers headed out to all. Christ is king indeed. Before we give him Kaiser Soze credit, let's do a little more diving. But I will tell you, it's weird. Mikey, don't Neff it up. Don't Neff up. Call Baron hotline ASAP. Mikey, we're waiting on you. Oh, Baron, so very sorry for you lost your friend. Prayers for his family and all who loved him. Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you. Just trying to find my wife, saving myself for her. I believe you, Pete. I'm not knocking it. Maybe too late to send this, but what about the lady in the stands behind Trump that was recording with her phone? She didn't flinch, and we love BC. I remember her. That was weird. White phone or something, or can't remember. What happened to Harvey and Donna? Great show again. I don't know what happened to them. Maybe they paired back up and had to stop using my super chats to flirt with each other. Sorry to hear about your loss. Glad you said goodbye. I look forward to the day my husband understands my admiration for you. You make me want to be a better, higher IQ woman. Well, then he should appreciate the show. Sir, we're doing you a favor. I'm doing you a favor. 530 mom of 4 boys. I don't know what that means. Parscale moved to Midland after failed Renacci. Congress run in Ohio. Local papers reported the move. Dunn is the largest single contributor to Waterstone. I haven't seen planes. Interesting you have to Colorado Springs. I've seen planes to Colorado Springs too. And yes, Midland as well. Should have called EK to fly you home on her jet. That would have been inappropriate. Heather Nicole Nola. I can't take anything of value from her if I'm covering the case, you know. Certainly not a $75,000 plane ride home. That would be inappropriate. But I would have done it. I would have told you, though. I would have said, guys, I took a $75,000 plane ride home from Erica, but I'm still going to cover the case. We're just giving her mercy, grace and mercy. She's grieving, you know. Guys, I appreciate you joining me. If you've not had a chance to hit the like button and you've enjoyed what you've seen here, please do. I showed you how to subscribe and join the members channel. If you missed it, go scroll back. You'll find it. It was at the beginning part of the Super Chats. And I appreciate you tuning in. I either will do a member show tomorrow or take the day off. I haven't decided which. I think it depends on how the rest of the night goes and what my plans are in the morning. If I run up and see my beautiful bundle of joy in the morning, I may end up staying too long to get back and do one. But either way, we'll do a member show either tomorrow or Friday. I doubt we'll do a regular show tomorrow, either a member show tomorrow or Friday. But I can't act mean and do that. Jesus loves you. Don't forget. Don't you ever forget. Jesus loves you, guys. He does. He does. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful evening. I will see the members either tomorrow or Friday. I'll see the rest of you back here Wednesday night. Have a wonderful evening, guys.